All right, it's day 4. A lot of Lions fans are nervous. Are you nervous about your Detroit Lions roster here in 2026? What can they do to improve it here today on day 4?
One, two, 1, 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Hey. Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
The podcast. Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man. My pride.
All right, it's day 4. Free agency. It is actually March 12th. It is not March 11th. I'll get that fixed in just 1 second. But anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show here on Rockhound Detroit Lions and a better part of DetroitFootballJournal.com. Do me a huge favor. If you have been following us for a while, you'd be a great support if you went and subscribed to DetroitFootballJournal.com. That is where I do all of my draft analysis. I write all my articles. And I've not put it out really to Google just yet, so you probably won't find it on the first 2 or 3 pages. But if you do, go ahead and Google DetroitFootballJournal.com. It'll pop right up. Pop your email in, sign up for a free account, and I'm going to give you 6 months membership for free on us today. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning, man. Here we go. Good morning. And good morning to you, Eric.
Good morning, Will.
What's happening? I got to fix my camera real quick. So why don't you tell everybody what's on your mind today?
Well, to probably no one's surprise, free agent quarterback Kyler Murray will visit with the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday. And belief across the league is that the Vikings are Murray's likely landing spot. I believe that wholeheartedly. That is where good old Kyler Murray is going to end up going to. Did you hear that big announcement, Will?
No. I was just wondering what was on your mind today. What was going on?
Well, the former Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray is going to visit with the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Expected that one.
Yeah, I believe across the league is that the Vikings are going to sign Murray.
I would expect it because he's going to get more than likely that league minimum deal. So it's a cheap opportunity to bring in a quarterback that has some experience. He can run around. He can throw the football. But the biggest question is, can they protect him? And do they have enough to make Kyler Murray successful? Because so far throughout his career, man, it's just been an up and down roller coaster. You know, like he said, he would rather have played baseball.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's not committed, 100% to football, at least mentally. That whole thing was just awkward.
Yeah.
Just awkward.
Yeah.
But other than that, what's on your mind today? It's Thursday. It's day 4. You've watched free agency kind of come and go for the Lions. They haven't done a whole lot. I'll give you my quick thoughts, and that is, I think that the Lions have been a little bit more players than we expected. It's just too expensive. And this season, I think that we've seen this offseason, this free agency period, we've seen some big bags go out the door to some of the upper tiered names, which the Lions were never really going to be involved in. The bigger names, the bigger dollar signings. If you thought so, then I hate to break it to you. It's never been that way. Since 2021, the Lions are not big players. When it comes to big-time free agents, in 2021, I think they signed their most free agents that year, and that was because they were rebuilding a team. And now you're looking at a roster that is devoid of salary cap, and they have plenty of draft picks. And there's something that I learned last night, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But let's get your thoughts on how free agency has gone through the first 3 days.
Well, just this morning, I wrote a little list. All right. And I went from top to bottom here. So I wrote cornerback, Amik, he's gone. Defensive tackle, Roy Lopez, DJ Reader, gone. Safety, injury. Left tackle, none. Linebacker, none. Alex is gone. Edge, none. Muhammad is gone. Tight end number 2 and number 3, none. So just right there is my shopping list of what the Detroit Lions need to do. Plus, they're probably going to want to draft a backup quarterback. They're probably going to want to draft another running back to replace Pacheco after this season and give them a season to acclimate to the NFL. So you are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 right there. That's 10 players right there. If we just go down my shopping list of what the Lions need, plus you have to fill out people for your 90 man. You're going to have to get unrestricted free agents. And we probably need another free agent or two over the next couple of weeks to help fill some of the backup roles. And this is mostly just starters that I put on this list. We lost 23 Lions so far, and now possibly 2 more who became unrestricted free agents on Wednesday.
What do you mean we lost 23?
Yep. And possibly 2 more today.
No, what do you mean we lost 23?
Okay. So this is what Dave Burkett wrote from the Detroit Free Press. The Detroit Lions did not tender contract offers to restricted free agents Trevor Nowaski and Tom Kennedy yesterday, leaving both clear to sign with other teams. Now Nowaski and Kennedy joined 23 other Lions who became unrestricted free agents at 4:00 on Wednesday.
So hold on. We haven't lost them yet.
No, haven't lost them yet.
But that's what you said.
But they're free to go and sign wherever they want.
And you also mentioned DJ Reader.
Yep.
Where did he sign?
Nowhere.
Well, you said we lost him.
Well, no, I'm just saying we need to replace that if he goes somewhere else.
Okay.
DJ Reader needs to be replaced because Roy Lopez, he already went and signed back with Arizona.
Right. I just want to make sure that we're clear because some of the things that you're saying aren't matching up with what happened. So I think what you're saying is what you're thinking and not what has happened so far. So DJ Reader hasn't signed with anybody just yet. And then, so at 4 o'clock yesterday, like it happens every season, the free agents that you have in-house, if you have not tendered your exclusive rights, if you have not re-signed your restricted or your unrestricted, your UFAs, then they enter the free agency pool officially at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And that doesn't mean that we've lost them yet. I would say that there's still negotiations going on. And the Lions, they kind of do this every season. You get the first 3 days are kind of filled. Well, the first 3 days from like noon to 4 p.m., noon Monday to 4 p.m. Wednesday, you're going to get the brunt of the unrestricted free agents outside your team. So I call those OFAs, outside free agents. And those are the players that you're trying to come up with some sort of a plan, work out a deal, and get them into the building by Wednesday at 4 p.m. to sign their contract. That hasn't been very fruitful for the Lions so far. They have not brought in a whole lot of players, and they have not re-signed a whole lot of their own players. So it's a little unnerving to Lions fans right now that are a little bit nervous. I should say just nervous that they don't know what the hell Brad Holmes is doing. They don't know what the hell he's up to because we don't have 30 draft picks, and the largest wave of top tier players, a large majority of them are gone.
Well, see, I like what Rob B says here. What Eric is trying to say is we lost them because they're not on our roster right now. They're not on any roster.
They were never going to be on our roster.
Yeah.
Their contract was up, so they were never going to be on our roster. The only way that they're going to be on our roster is if we actually re-sign them to a new deal. So that's how I look at it, is when they become free agents, when their contract is up and they've played their last game of the 2025 season, you are no longer a Detroit Lion until 4 p.m. yesterday. Now they become free agents, free and clear, and they can go wherever they want to go. But just because that happens, I mean, that we should have expected that, right? I mean, Brad has never just gone out and signed everybody on a Monday. He wants to upgrade. Every single year, his goal is to upgrade player for player, position for position, and he does that by filling the holes in free agency. He never really does that in the draft. At least that's what he says. He says he goes BPA. I don't really see him filling a ton of holes in the draft outside of adding some high caliber football players early. And I'm just going to put it out there. I've been kind of sticking to this idea. I think Brad is going to do something nutty in the draft. Just absolutely nutty. You remember last year, Eric, when you were talking about the Packers? And hold on. If you can't tell, I've already lost my voice again through 20 hours of live streams this week. You talking about the Packers? That their GM was on the hot seat, so to speak, and LaFleur may have been on the hot seat, and I think we both agree. We both kind of agreed with that. Then they get extended or whatever, but it was something that they needed to do in the draft to kind of shake up what they've been doing and what they haven't done in like 17 seasons or whatever it was. They never signed a first round wide receiver. Well, that kind of blew up in their face, right? I mean, Matthew Golden hasn't turned out to be anything just yet. So that was a big nutty move, right? Yep. I think it was a bad move. I don't think that they should have taken Matthew Golden. I think it should have went a totally different direction.
He was horrible.
And he's a rookie. And that's why, I'm going to continue to drive it into the fans' brains. Like, Golden was what? Pick 17? What was he? Pick what? What number was he?
Yeah, I think he was 17.
So a 17th pick in the first round and a wide receiver that was the talk of the town, right? Did nothing in his first year. Nothing. He didn't even have a touchdown until the last game? Or the first game of the first playoff game or something?
It was in the playoffs. Regular season, he had 0. At least J-Mo caught one in his rookie season.
Right. So what I'm trying to get people to understand here is miss me with this whole third round picks are supposed to start. Miss me with this whole we spent too many third round picks on Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, he's a better receiver than Golden.
I don't want to hear any of that because you just watched the first round pick shit the bed.
Yep.
And so what if Brad Holmes would have, instead of taking Isaac Tesla, trading up, moving a couple of picks from the future draft pool, had went ahead and taken a wide receiver in the first round? And what if it was Matthew Golden and he shits the bed? Then what are you saying? That would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know how he would have performed under our offense, but I would probably lean in the same direction. He's taken some time to develop. But the whole point where the whole emphasis here is I think that Brad is leaning on this draft a little bit more than maybe he has in the past. But at the same time, I'm going to pull up 2025's free agency again and just remind us what we've done. And then, Eric, if you don't mind, if you could pull up all of our free agency moves to date, between Monday and today, or including the the Montgomery trade, and then we'll compare and we'll contrast, to what we have done and is it on par for what we have been doing. This draft is loaded in certain areas, but man, it's going to fade away fast. And so that's why I'm expecting that Brad Holmes is going to have to do something a little nutty in this draft. And you know what? Don't put it out of your mind either that he might make a massive trade somewhere. That could be cooking. Just because you haven't signed a free agent doesn't mean that trades aren't working. Doesn't mean that draft trades aren't working. Doesn't mean that, I'm just going to say it. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just going to say it. Jameson Williams is probably trade bait number 1 right now. Shouldn't be, but let's just be realistic. There's nobody else on this team that you're trading that has value other than Aiden Hutchinson.
Well, I'll tell you what. I saw at least 5 articles this morning that all said we should trade for Max Crosby and use Aleem McNeil to offset the cost.
Yeah, miss me with that. That's the same shit. That's the same shit that they printed 2 weeks ago.
Then it only cost $6 million to get.
That's not how it works.
Max Crosby and blah blah blah.
I can only imagine where that came from.
Yeah, I know where it came from.
Yeah,
but
it's not how it works, man. It's not. You have to take into consideration all of the signing bonus and everything that gets escalated when you trade a player, everything that you have built out for the future years and the void years, if there's void years in his contract. And then that all comes to a head right now. The minute you trade that player, it's all due right now. It hits the cap. And then you have to offset next year's salary. How are you going to offset next year's salary? He ain't here anymore. How are you going to do that? Okay, if you add 10% to the bottom line again because the NFL adds another 9.5%, 10%, okay, that offsets it, but you didn't get any better anywhere else. You didn't create any more cap anywhere else because next year you have all of these contracts coming together, and we have 4 guys right now that need new deals. So it's a problem. Speaking of Crosby, I'm glad you just brought that up. Oh, and before I forget,
I'm so sick of the Crosby crap.
No, I'm glad you brought it up because I got a little info here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So good morning, Attila. Dropped in a $5 super chat. He said, did Jalen Hawkins and Nick Cross sign for more that you expected? I saw they were on your short list for safety signings, Ifeatu Melifonwu or Maddox. See, I still think that Maddox is coming back. I have not checked anything this morning yet to see if Melifonwu's gone anywhere. I don't know that he has. I'll pull it all up here in a minute. I was super busy this morning. I literally just got back in the door 5 minutes before we went live. So, Melifonwu is a stopgap, but he was sent out to pasture for a reason. He didn't play for a reason. And that's because the dude wasn't tough enough.
Yep.
And he had some minor issues that he turned into big issues. So, I mean, I get it. It seems like everyone is talking about Ifeatu Melifonwu because he was a former player. I'm going to put that in the name category. I'm not going to put that in a fit category. That's a name category that you recognize. It's a name that was on the team before, and it's a cheaper option. But at the same time, unless I missed something, he was sent out to pasture because he couldn't fight through finger issues. And then he was pissed off about playing time with Kirby and Branch. And then he was let go. See ya. He didn't play.
I know I know what you missed.
What I miss?
It's all the people that have Iffy Melifonwu jerseys. They want to be able to wear them again.
That's probably you.
No, that's not me. I never bought it.
And thank you for your super chat this morning. So we're gonna start putting up goals every day. We don't need to hit the 15. I don't even know what the goal is today. The bot took care of that today.
Yeah, there was a $10 one from J-Rod also.
Yeah, I'll get to that one too here in just a moment.
Okay.
Oh, go for it. No, go for it.
He says, let's have a great show. Hype, like, share, and subscribe. Check
There you
out
go.
the many other offerings of Rocked On Media and Cancer Foundation. Thank you, J-Rod.
Thanks,
$10.
sir. Appreciate it, buddy. And so yeah, I got the bot active again. If we have problems today with the bot, just bear with me, because I have to train it and it needs to figure out what the hell it's doing. It's supposed to engage you guys and kind of keep the chat flowing and also moderate to help alleviate the moderators from having to do everything. I want to give them an opportunity to just enjoy the damn show and not have to govern everything. So, and maybe take more opportunity to be part of it as opposed to constantly moderating. So I'm trying to use the bot as a way to be a partner to the mods and then also help the chat. But it'll do things like it'll create daily goals. It'll help post links and then just constantly remind people of things that we have going on, because I'm terrible at reminding myself to remind you. And I'm just, look, I'll do ad reads and stuff. And we've got some sponsors coming up here in April that are kicking off some ads, and those I know to do, right? But I try not to pump my own stuff all the time. I got to give a quick update too on the rules, just so everybody knows the rules. But J-Rod, thank you, man. Appreciate you. So that's $15 in the hole. I don't even know what the goal is today. It says 2 of 15 light blue super chats. What's a light blue super chat?
I don't know.
Is that $2?
I don't know. Trying to get you some super chats in there.
So it might be a $30 goal for the day. And then the $30 goal, if that's what it is, if it's a $30 goal for the day, then we dial the ads way back. As I don't want people to have to deal with the ads all the time.
Trey says it's $2.
Okay, so it's a $30 goal. It's not bad. We're already halfway there. Look at that. Already halfway there. And I think it's an hour. We get an hour to do that. All right, so information. Let's start with that.
Yeah. I have a little tidbit for the day.
So Ravens GM Eric DeCosta, he said that after losing their starter center Tyler Linderbaum to the Raiders, that they were interested in pairing Trey Hendrickson with Max Crosby. But Crosby's medical exam put an end to that discussion. I don't know if they've actually released what they found, or if they will, or if there's something different, more and above the knee, the meniscus surgery. But I do know this. Every Lions fan out there can forget Max Crosby's name for the rest of his career. Maybe in 3-4 years, we can talk about it again. I'm sure people won't stop talking about it. But Max put out a quote, or a post last night where he said, things happen for a reason. I'm a Raider for life. Let's get to work. So he's happy to be back in Vegas. He spent 2 days in Baltimore. Obviously, things didn't work out, but he's happy to be back in Vegas. And Vegas is able to clear all the contracts as they did. They didn't have to unwind everything. But today is also 3 truths and a lie. And so this is a lie to me. I'm going to consider this one a lie, because I don't believe for a moment that they were considering pairing Trey Hendrickson with Max Crosby. You're talking over $200 million in contracts on 2 players at the edge position that totaled over $60 million a year. The price of an extremely valuable quarterback in Lamar Jackson, who also just got either a new deal, restructured deal, but he's also making significant amount of money. So you're talking over $100 million on 3 players, when the cap is $300 million bucks, roughly, right? A third of your cap on 3 players. That would be extremely irresponsible. Their roster is not young. They need a roster that'd be a little bit younger to be able to pull something off like that, in my opinion. You could probably do it for a season, and then you could walk away from one of them and, trade them or do whatever you need to do. I think he's full of crap, and I think they're backpedaling, and I think that they're trying to do damage control here. Because what I've heard is that the Ravens, kind of like myself, are public enemy number one within the NFL. Everybody's disgusted with them. A lot of the general managers and the ownership feel like what the Ravens just did was a major, major black eye to the league. That you just don't do that shit. You just don't. Because if it's anything other than the knee, then they'll get away with it, because that would lend to credibility of what just went down. But Eric, have we heard anything about why? No, they just said the medical report. If they really thought that his knee was a problem, then why were you trading for him now and not before the draft? Mm-hmm. You didn't have to do anything right now. Unless they really felt that another team was willing to pull the trigger on this whole deal. You know what? I feel this is how it went down. I feel like they, just like when you play, you play poker or whatever. This is going to be a bad analogy because I don't play poker. I used to. So, you put your ante in, right? You put your ante in, and I feel like that's what they did. They anteed up on Crosby because when they had to, when they had to make their bet on the turn or on the flop, right? They had to make their other bet on the flop. That was Trey Hendrickson. They were waiting to see what Trey Hendrickson was going to do and if they were going to have an opportunity. So they put their ante in on Crosby. All right, we're going to make the trade. We got 3 days, 2.5 days to settle this bet. And then we find out on day 3 at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever that the next bet is Trey Hendrickson is willing to come to the Ravens for 4 at 112. Well, now we're just going to fold our hand and we're just going to walk away with Trey. That's kind of how did I do okay?
Okay.
That's how I feel it went down. But anyway, what's your thoughts? And you had a tidbit you said you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I have a little something with this. So this morning, there was a tweet out there from one of the reporters, and it was listing what Eric DaCosta had just said, what you just put, that Max Crosby, they had a deal worked out with Max Crosby to make him one of the highest paid defensive ends in the league, and they were going to redo his contract, and they got to the physical part of it and he failed, and that's why it went all crumbled. Well, his agent put that was fake news about the contract. So if that part of it is fake, then I'm guessing the rest of it's fake too. And they just got cold feet and they did something. I'm not going to say it's never been done in the NFL before, because it has, but never to this extent. Never this big of a trade. Something like this. No one's ever had the rug pulled out from under them during this legal tampering period before. And if you go to
they might have. I just can't think of anything either.
But not during because this legal tampering period's only been around for a couple of years now. And like all of the beat writers for every team were like, well, it was nice to know you, legal tampering period. So
there you go.
It may be gone because of this move right here.
Didn't we just talk about this the other day? That the legal tampering period, it's like window shopping. You're walking by the window, you're down on Fifth Avenue in Naples or wherever you shop, Miami. I think there's a Fifth Avenue everywhere, and you're looking at all the the $30,000 bags and the $10,000 shirts and the $5,000 shoes and the $20,000 Rolex, and I'm just gonna go and take a look.
Let's go to Costco instead.
Just gonna go take a look. You know, going, hey, what's that cost? You know, can I try it on? Well, no. I mean, you got to give me your black card first, and you've got to be eligible to be able to purchase this. We've got to verify you. I need your ID. Okay, well, we'll do all that. All right. I like it. I'll be back in a couple days. And then you go down the street, and you realize that same watch, maybe a different color, was $15,000 less, but same watch. The only thing difference is the color. Don't take this the wrong way. You know, this one is a blue face, this one's a yellow face, or this one's a silver band, this one's a gold band. But the price difference is incredible. One's gold, one's silver. Well, I'm going to take the silver one because it's a lot less money and it's still a Rolex. So I got Trey Hendrickson, still a Rolex, just different flavor. It's like window shopping, man. But that's all they're doing. Yeah. I think it needs to go away. I'd say if you are going to make a deal with these guys, it goes into the books right now. You know, you give them 4 hours, maybe. Maybe the legal tampering period is 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that'd be crazy. And that is, what I mean by that is, if you're going to enter into a contract negotiation with a player, both sides get 4 hours. You turn the deal in, you get 4 hours to rip it up. Not 2.5 days. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just shame on the Ravens, man.
Yep.
No one's going to want to deal with them now.
For a team that's been so respected for so long to do something so, I don't even want to call it fishy. I just wrong.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. The only thing you have in life is your word. And when you break it, man, that just shows the character of the person.
At the end of the day, though, I will say this. They didn't do anything wrong. Just morally, it feels wrong.
Yes.
But they didn't do anything wrong. There's no legal avenue. There's nothing the NFL can do. There's nothing the league ownership can do. They abided by the rules. And yeah, it may be a little bit grimy. It may not sit well with a lot of people, but they technically didn't break any rules. Could you imagine if the Lions did that?
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine if they actually brought in Max Crosby and then decided that the medicals were not up to snuff and then they told him to walk back out the door? Could you imagine? There'd be pitchforks and everything else done on Brush Avenue, man, or Brush Street. there'd be paper bags and everything else and orange clothing.
It wouldn't happen because we got Dr. Dan in the house. He'd pass anybody on a physical.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's funny.
That's why Dr. we have so many injuries.
Jesus.
Because Dr. Dan just passed.
Get out there, boy. You're good. Rub it off. Put some dirt on it. Spit on it.
Here's some tape.
God. You need an ice cube?
Yeah. Did you know that per Spotrac, that on the first day of the legal tampering period this year, the Lions suddenly became the 4th youngest roster in the NFL?
All right. We're going to get even younger in the draft.
Yep.
All right. So here's the thing. I want to throw something up. Here we go.
Waddle.
All right, who's ready for the draft, man?
Who's ready to see that again? We haven't seen that in a couple of years.
It's been 5, man. That was 2021. That was the moment that we were able to get Penei Sewell. So
yeah, but they did that when they got Gibbs and JMO and
oh yeah, but what I'm saying, the reason why I'm throwing this up, one, it was on Twitter last night, and I caught it this morning. And I'm like, you know, that's a feel good moment. So I want to remind you all, Lions fans out there anyway, I'm sure there's other fans in here too, that it's not over. It's never over. And thanks to Brian Brady. Good morning, Brian. Hope your mom's doing well. That we had a good conversation about Brad Holmes yesterday, And I think you were off, Eric, but I went deep into, breaking him down against Howie Roseman, Les Snead,
Yeah.
and
I was listening.
Yeah, and others. And so at the end of the day, the numbers that I came up with, I think are pretty inspiring when you look at what Brad has been able to do since he's been the GM of the Detroit Lions. 78% hit rate on players staying from 2021 till now. The players that we've drafted, 78% are still on the roster. 53% of them are starters. 17% of them are all pros, and 22% of them are all pro or pro bowlers. I'm excited about the draft.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of knew that this year had to be a youth movement, sticking with this whole youth thing.
100%.
Because if you look at some of the people that left in free agency or were cut, you have Taylor Decker, 33 years old, Graham Glasgow, 34 years old, David Montgomery, 29, Alex Anzalone, 31, Roy Lopez, 29, Khalif Raymond, 32, and the youngest of them all, Amik Robertson at 28. And only two of these guys were drafted by the Lions, and Taylor Decker and Graham Glasgow. And Graham, he left for a couple years and came back. So Taylor's the only one that was drafted here, but that was 2 regimes ago. And, he wasn't brought in by Brad. He wasn't brought in by Dan, but he was a centerpiece to help get them where they are now. And I think they finally realized that with giving out all the contracts to the guys that they had to extend, because he was so good at drafting, and we did have all those picks in the beginning, it's catching up now. So we have to inject more youth into this team. We knew it was coming this year. We knew it was going to happen, that a bunch of these older players were going to have to leave, and we're going to have to replace them with younger drafted players. As a Lions fan, it makes me really nervous that we have so many holes to fill, especially with starters or first backups, that we can't do it all in the draft. So we still have some work to do in free agency.
Absolutely. I'm going to turn it to you for 30 seconds. I got to take care of something real quick.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I have a little tidbit for you guys about one of the players that we just re-signed, and that is none other than Rodrigo. So, according to NFL reporter Aaron Wilson, the Houston Texans were one of the teams that tried to sign Malcolm Rodriguez. But Malcolm ultimately chose to return to the Detroit Lions on a 1-year contract. And I still haven't seen the money for Rodrigo yet, but Wilson reported that Rodriguez was on Houston's list of potential free agent targets, but the veteran linebacker opted to remain with the team that drafted him. So that was pretty cool that Rodrigo had some suitors in free agency, but instead chose to come back to the Detroit Lions. And another one I was looking at is there are some free agents left still. There's still some good ones. And the 5 best players still available in free agency, I'm going to tell you who these guys decided are the 5 best free agents left. And one of them might surprise you. So at number 1, they have Rasheed Walker, the offensive tackle from the Green Bay Packers. And so far, he has not found a suitor for 2026. Number 2 is Kyler Murray. He's going to visit with the Minnesota Vikings this week. But then number 3 is a surprise, Taylor Decker. And Taylor Decker surprisingly announced that the Lions would be releasing him. And then he has not gotten signed by any other team, which is kind of surprising.
Who's
so
that?
I don't know what's going on with the whole Taylor Decker thing. And then you have wide receiver Juwan Jennings and safety Juwan Brisker. And I was going to ask Will, what do you think of safety Juwan Brisker? He became a free agent after spending his first 4 seasons in Chicago. Brisker notched 93 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 8 pass breakups for the Bears in 2025. And according to PFF, Brisker's biggest strength last season was his run defense, as he ranked top 20 among safeties and earned a grade of 79.
Last year he had a grade of 79?
Yeah.
I don't see
For
that.
Juwan Brisker.
I see 60.4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody's flubbing some numbers.
Yeah, so I'm looking at PFF right now. He had a 60.4 overall. He was a 68th safety. He was a 50.9 in coverage. Pass rush grade 73.2. Run defense grade 73.7. Ended up with 1 interception, 11 pressures, 69 solo tackles, 31 receptions allowed, and 118.1 passer rating allowed. If he's an extremely cheap option,
yeah,
then sure. But I'm not hyped about Brisker.
Yeah. Are you surprised that Taylor Decker is number 3 on their little list of the 5 best free agents still available?
No, I mean, I would say that those numbers are ill-defining of the player, because you're looking at length of time in the league and the veteran status, how good he was when he was healthy. I think that teams are highly questioning whether he's able to make it through a full season. And, you know, I'm just going to say this. You remember when we were standing in front of Dan Campbell, and I can't remember if Brad made any comments on Decker, but Dan Campbell was talking about Decker, and he said that no matter what, something is going to have to happen here. He's going to require some things like management, because of the shoulder and the age and everything else. So what fans don't understand all the time is how much time and energy is spent just to be able to play. It's not practice. It's not walkthroughs. It's not meeting time. It's treatment. And as a vet, 10 plus years in the league, all the injuries that he suffered, especially that shoulder, Decker was in the treatment room more than he was on the practice field last year. So I think maybe Dan was kind of laying the groundwork for all the other teams out there to say, you know, hey, this guy's he's going to require a lot to even play. And he's going to have to rest. I mean, Decker rested every single week. He barely practiced. So for that reason, I would say that I'm not thinking Decker's going to go anywhere anytime soon. Like, he might stay a free agent until later in the spring, after OTAs, after the draft, at least. I think that's probably where he's going to stay. And that's partly probably because of his decision too. Like, he's not just going to go anywhere, and he doesn't have to go anywhere. He can pick and choose wherever he wants to go. I think Decker's best course of action right now, clearly he doesn't need money, but I would say the best course of action for Decker is to stay in shape, hold tight, and join a team when they need somebody. And hopefully it's a contender. Don't just join any team. And you know, that I still have the door open for him to come back to Detroit. I'm not going to view this whole Decker asking for his release as a full negative. I just really find it odd that he put that out there before the team said anything.
Yeah.
Something's off with it, and it could be off in a good way. That maybe they did all this to get under the cap, and you bring him back, you know, later on in the season, if something's going on with Giovanni Manu, if he ends up being our left tackle and he's just not cutting it, Decker can come back. And he could come back, you know, before week 1. He could come back during training camp. He could come back week 12 or week 16 and make a push, you know, into the playoffs. So there's all those options on the table. But I don't see Decker going anywhere anytime soon. I would be surprised if he was picked up by a team and The biggest thing is his salary. You know, what is he willing to accept? I can't remember how much exactly the Lions saved, but let me just take a look real quick. I have all this information now. I found a new thing.
Wouldn't this be a great way for him to skip OTAs?
I mean, he
camp?
pretty much skipped it anyway.
Yeah, he could just skip it all. Yeah, but then they don't have to pay him bonuses and workout bonuses or any of that stuff. They just get him for the games, and he can come right in and play.
So the Lions cleared $11.6 million in cap, and his original contracted salary this year was $21.3. Forgive me if I'm off a little bit, but if you take those two numbers, is Decker willing to take $10 million? Because that's what he lost this year, $10 million. That's how I view it, and I think that a lot of players and agents kind of view it that way too. Like, we don't need to go to a new team and get 21.3. We still. I'm sorry that those numbers are wrong. Give me just one sec. So 21.3 minus 11.6. So he lost. No, yeah, he lost 11.6. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. He lost 11.6. So is he willing to take 11.6 from a team, or 10 mil or 12 mil? And I would say that the answer is closer to yes than it is no. And to have a guy like Taylor Decker, you know, come back later on in the season and you sign him to a 2-year deal at, you know, $10 million and you chunk a void year in it. Well, now you're only going to pay him a couple $1 million to come and join your roster. And then next year you got to deal with the dead cap. So there's always that option for the Lions and for any other team. But at least right now, it seemed very odd the way that it went down. You don't take a 10-year vet and treat him like Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders. Because I think a lot of fans kind of looked at it that way. Like, we just did what to Taylor? We totally just spit in the dude's face and now he wants to be released? A lot of fans took it that way. I hope Taylor didn't. You know, he's a big piece of this puzzle, man. And he's a big part of that locker room. I would love to see him come back and coach, but I think we say that about a lot of two players maybe too often, but he's one that I think would be a damn good coach at any level. But I think that it suits him. He's that kind of a dude. No comment?
Oh, I love Decker. And if he's doing this to set something up so he can come back and play, maybe we get on a run, maybe after 4 or 5 weeks, maybe after 8 weeks, he comes back for the end of the season. You never know. I think everything is open for him right now. I just thought it was kind of neat that he was listed as the number 3 best free agent available that are left from the people who are out there. Because there's hundreds of probably 1,000 free agents still out there. There has to be a ton of them.
I don't know what's going on here. Why is this doing that?
Because there's no team right now that has 90 people on their roster. None.
All right, here's a quick update for everyone that is wanting to know what has happened with your Lions in case you haven't written it down or burned it into your brain yet. March 9th, Taylor Decker was released. The Lions cleared $11.6 million in cap. March 9th, the Lions structured a deal with Cade Mays during legal tampering period for 3 years, $25 million. That was official yesterday. Larry Borum was signed. I don't have contract details as of right now, but that deal was put together on March 9th. Isaiah Pacheco, there was a deal that was structured on March 10th. He signed the contract yesterday with Detroit, or you would expect it's now legit. Malcolm Rodriguez was re-signed. So Malcolm Rodriguez was the first player that we brought back. Rock Ya-Sin on March 10th, a deal was put together for 1 year, $3.2 million. So the initial numbers were $4 million. I was closer to 2.5. I think that's the number that we talked about. So we got 3.2. We were only $700K off. I think that's a good deal. And I don't know if there's incentives involved in it or what, but that's a great deal to bring Rock Ya-Sin back. Teddy Bridgewater on March 10th was signed or negotiated with the Detroit Lions. That became official yesterday. The biggest winner of that, we'll talk about winners and losers today too. 3 truths and a lie, but Teddy Bridgewater, the number one winner of that signing is Jameson Williams and Jared Goff. But Jameson Williams is extremely excited to have the guy that really did a lot for him back in the room. Juice Scruggs, he was brought in as part of the trade with David Montgomery out of Houston. The conditions on the trade with David Montgomery was a 7th round pick, a 4th round pick, a 7th round pick in 27, a 4th round pick this year, and Drew Scruggs brought in, all traded for David Montgomery. It was a great trade by Brad Holmes. I think he got more than enough value out of David Montgomery. And then yesterday, as we learned, on March 11th, the Lions converted $40 million of Jared Goff's salary. Those conversations have been ongoing throughout the offseason. I'm assuming that those conversations were had last year and the year before. And, whenever that deal was done, it was 2 years ago the deal was done. It cleared $32 million of cap space. That's it. Those are all the moves that we have so far. So out of all those moves, the Lions have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys brought back or signed through free agency so far. Out of all of those players, the interesting one to me is Larry Borum at right tackle, because he's not a left tackle. We have 4 right tackles on this roster right now, and we have 1 left tackle. Unless Mahogany or Frazier is going to move to left, that's it. All we have is Giovanni Manu. And so all signs are pointing left tackle in the draft. All signs are pointing that way. The most interesting part, Eric, are you surprised by the fact that Rasheed Walker is still unsigned?
Yeah, that's kind of nuts.
Now, he's apparently looking for north of $20 million in free agency per season.
That might be why.
Well, he's still a young player. When you look at the available free agents still available. Let me say that one more time. Available. Rasheed Walker's number 1, according to ESPN.
Yeah.
Now, he'll be 26 years old entering this season. According to ESPN, he's bringing a pass block win rate, get this, 93.8%, ranked 11th among 68 qualifying offensive tackles last year. That sounds like a guy I would love to have on the blind side of Jared Goff. 93.8% pass block win rate.
Look at his run blocking grade, though.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. His technique could still improve, and he lacks a strong anchor, but he does have the good footwork and mobility to match the speed of edge rushers, which is exactly what you're looking for. Now, it's a premium position, and Walker will see heavy interest in free agency still, and I bet, with some of these names that don't get signed early, a lot of it is just negotiating. There's probably some teams out there that don't want to pay what they're asking, and he's probably trying to find the best fit. I am almost willing to bet, Eric, that some players just don't want to go to certain teams. There's a lot of bad blood between us and Green Bay.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think that we need to realize that this is their job. Like, the color of their jersey doesn't really matter a whole lot. They want to get paid, but then they have to go do their job and forget all of the bad blood that was between you. I think it's slim to none that a guy like Rasheed Walker ends up in Detroit simply because of all of that. But if from a professional perspective, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. I just don't think the Lions are looking at left tackle right now.
Yeah, well, not due to my Packer hatred, but Rasheed Walker last year, 9 penalties, 5 sacks. That to me, and plus you put in his run grade of 54 or 55. Yeah, I'm a pass. I'd rather try to get Caden Proctor or one of these other guys in the draft.
So number 2 right now is Kyler Murray. All signs pointing that he's going to end up in Minnesota. Number 3 is Juwan Jennings, wide receiver. Former team is the San Francisco 49ers. He'll also be 29 this year. Yeah, something just popped through. Hold on.
Somebody wrote 26-year-old is geriatric. Remember, Will?
Oh yeah. So I mean, what he was referring to is your ligaments and the muscles and all that stuff. That once you reach the age of 25 in the NFL, it's because of repetitions. It's not the age, but it's the age with the amount of repetitions expected by that age that your body is going to start to break down. And then after age 25, which would be typically your second contract, depending on the position, running back, wide receiver, corner, that those guys have a higher propensity to get injured. Guys that are in the middle, trenches, less so. Now, at the same time, I wish I would have asked him a follow-up question to that, because a 330-pound lineman, defense or offense, how does that weight? Because it's usually weight that they never carried. Normally it's weight that they added to play the sport. How does that affect, the ligaments and the muscles and all that? But anyway, number 4, according to ESPN, is Taylor Decker. We just talked about him. Number 5 is Stephon Diggs. Number 6 is Joey Bosa. Number 7 is Joel Bitonio, guard. He'll be 34 years old. Lions aren't looking at that. Number 8, guy we just talked about a minute ago, Jaquan Brisker. He'll be 27 this year. Number 9, Aaron Rodgers. Number 10, Kirk Cousins. Number 11, Deebo Samuel. Number 12, Cam Robinson, offensive tackle. Now, Robinson does have all the desired tools at the position, according to ESPN. He's 6'6", 335 pounds. He has the agility to engulf pass rushers and the foot speed to redirect during the play. He also has a pretty high pass block rate, 92.1%. Career best in 2025. However, he's had some technical lapses during his career that have prevented him from playing at a much more consistent rate. I love consistency, but at the same time, competency is probably more important to me. But he's 30 years old. Doubtful that he's going to end up in Detroit. Chris Paul, guard, former team Washington Commanders. He's at number 13. And then there's David Njoku. So we were talking about tight end. I know a lot of people were looking at tight end. And I'm still looking at tight end. Robbie asked a little while ago, he said a lot of those free A's available will sign after the draft. Teams want to see who falls to them before committing money. If that was a question, maybe I don't quite understand the question. But the bigger numbers, the bigger dollars, and the players like David Njoku that haven't really had a tremendous amount of output while playing. I mean, let's take a look at his. Let's take a look at his stats. The last 3 years, 33 receptions, 293, 64 receptions, 505, 81 receptions, 882. That was the peak of his career in 2023. And then he slid 58 for 628, 36 for 475, 19 for 213, 5 for 41. Now, between 2019 and 2020, I believe he suffered some sort of injuries there. 2018, 56 for 639, 2017, 32 for 386. So he's an elder statesman when it comes to tight ends in the league, right? He's been in the league now 9 seasons. This would be his 10th season. What kind of money do you put towards a player like that? What kind of value do you put towards David Njoku from, is it a 1-year deal? Is it a 2-year deal? How do you feel about David Njoku? He does have history with Drew Petzing and when Drew was at Cleveland. So I think that there's a linkage there. I think it's just the expense. But guys like that aren't signed right now, they're probably more worried about what that contract's looking like.
Njoku, I would be very highly interested in him, but it would have to be for the right price. I don't think it can be some huge last contract for the guy, because I think this is his last contract. This doesn't say what his age is on here. for ESPN.
He's 29.
29.
Yeah, he'll be 30 when the season starts.
All right. Yeah, so this is his 9th season. The
10th.
guy knows what he's doing.
10th season.
And, okay, so this would be its 10th.
Yeah, 10th season.
Yeah, I would take a risk on him. If there's any way Brad could get him in the door, I say go for it. I think he's a willing blocker. He's going to be a great big target for Jared Goff in the end zone. He's going to help if, heaven forbid, something happens to Sam Laporta. We need someone, because Brock Purdy tried to take over when Sam Laporta went down last year, and he did a head flip and broke his neck, basically, and he got injured. And then we were down to no one left for tight ends. And when we lost Sam Laporta is when this team started to slide last year.
Oh, it was a straight nosedive, dude. Straight nosedive.
Yes, we didn't have that option for Jared Goff to get rid of the ball anymore. And we have to have a competent backup this year. And I don't think a rookie can come in and be that competent backup right away. I think you need to get younger. I think you need to get another one in the building. But David Njoku, I think, would be a great stopgap for a season or two. Give him a 3-year contract, a nice out after the second year, and just don't give him, you're not going to be able to give him a ton of money, but maybe having Petzing as his offensive coordinator can be just enough to entice him to come to Detroit.
100%. I see Nightbot has been active in the chat this morning. So again,
Yep.
I'm going to put out the warning. If for some reason you get banned, blocked, timed out, don't worry. It's not us. It's the bot, and we will get it fixed. It takes a little bit to get that thing functioning correctly. But it looks like he's putting out some good stuff already. Just a few moments ago, he says you want the latest Lions news, rumors, and draft analysis. Free 6-month membership. Sign up free today. Detroit Football Journal, and posted a link. And then before that, I saw another message in here. Where'd it go? Get your Detroit Lions jersey raffle tickets today, only $5. Isaac Tesla, and posted a link. So we are doing raffles on jerseys. It's something that we do every year. Helps raise funds for Rockhound Cancer Foundation, and a lot of you purchased tickets yesterday. Like,
Nice.
that whole thing was stalled out. We haven't done anything with it in probably 4 months. And so we're getting real close to being able to raffle that thing off quickly. We are almost there. So get your $5 tickets. If you are a member of the channel, you get 2 for 1. If you are a paid member for Detroit Football Journal, you get 2 for 1. Other than that, if you're just an amazing person and subscriber to the channel, you're awesome. Appreciate you, but you get 1 for 1 at least, and you get a shot at winning a $150 or $180 jersey. And I'm probably going to get some other jerseys in. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go grab one because I am going to raffle one of these off. I'm going to try to get a few more. They're really hard to get. I'll go grab it in just a moment. But as far as David Njoku, absolutely, I think he would be a good stopgap. I mean, I love that word. But the next guy, AJ Epinesa, still unsigned.
Wow, that's your guy.
That's my guy. He's been my guy for 3 years. As a matter of fact, I did a video on him. Now, I used to do some really, really good videos back in the day. And I would do highlights of the player and spend a lot of time creating the videos. But I struggled because of the copyright. And I'm wondering now that, you know, I'm credentialed and I have this license through the NFL, if that's ever going to change. But I've got to get them to recognize my channel. And I guess put my channel on the It's Okay list through YouTube. I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't. Because I think that the way I read it, I can get up to like 30 seconds of highlights or 30 seconds I think it's just 30 seconds of highlights. I just need to reach out to them and figure out how I can do it. But I think at the end of the day, I could never monetize it, and that's okay. So the other channel that I don't use, I want to start using it, and I want to start doing more highlights and film work and all that. And I just won't monetize it. So it'll just be a channel that, will promote other things, ad reads and, all that stuff to help the channel grow. But maybe I'll do that over there and then link it back to this channel because that's probably the safest way. I just don't want to have issues with copyright strikes. I've never had one. I don't want one. But let me find this video because I think this one made it through. Try to search my channel and it keeps going outside of my channel.
Oh, there you go.
While I'm doing this, what else is on your mind today?
We went through most of it. I got my winners and losers. I got my 3 losers and my 1 winner from free agency. If you're ready to go into that stuff.
I will be shortly. Okay. Why is my Epinesa video not showing up?
Hey, there's a super chat from Lions fan since the 50s. $10. Come on, let's hit the goal, he says.
Well, now we're only $5 away. I think it's only a $30 goal, so we're only $5 away. And by the way, Mike P, I don't know if you put user in front of your name on purpose or if you had to, but there's a way to remove that if you want to remove that. But Mike P, man, he's been a longtime supporter of the channel. He's a mod, and appreciate you, man. Hope Mrs. P is doing well this morning. You always got a connection with me up north here, just 15, 20 minutes from me. If you ever need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Hope you're doing well. Make sure you give Mrs. P a hug for us today. Next on the list. So there is 1 corner and 1 more edge and 1 more running back, which we don't need, and then 1 defensive tackle. So I started doing a video last night on Jonathan Hargrave, and within an hour of the release at 4 p.m., he was snatched up
by the Packers.
I'm like, son of a gun. So scrap the video, spent all that time doing it. And then I'm like, okay, Jonathan Allen. Now, when they brought in Hargrave and Allen last year, we were expecting to see a defensive front that was going to be a wrecking ball. And that was an extremely tough defense. We obviously struggled with them. You know who really shined for them last year with Minnesota? Redmond. That dude is a baller. And if you remember, Dan Campbell mentioned something about him in the press conferences or one of the press conferences leading up to that first Minnesota game that he identified Redmond in. I don't know why I can't remember his first name right now.
Now, Redmond, he's not a free agent, though.
No. No, he's not. I think is it Jalen? It might be Jalen Redmond. But last year he had an overall 72.7 grade. 6 sacks through the interior. That is a damn good season. But that dude is a wrecking ball. Played almost 800 snaps, created 35 pressures from the interior, and 6 sacks. That's exactly the type of work that we want to get out of Ali McNeil and Tyleik Williams. My goal for both of those guys this year is 6 sacks apiece. I know that Tyleik has pass rush upside, but something tells me if DJ Reader is not retained, and if the Lions continue to have the same 4-3 base front strategy this year, we're going to need that bigger nose tackle. Even though the nose tackle's primary 3-4 defensive front, we still have that heavier defensive lineman / nose tackle that plays opposite of Lee McNeil. And that is to tie up double teams and force the run game, right? Or be a big force in the run game. So if we lose DJ Reader, I'm losing confidence that Tyreek Williams is going to get down in weight and get a little bit more nimble. I think he's going to go up in weight and be just a frog on a log, man. You know what I mean? He's just going to be a bump on a log is probably a better term. He's going to be immovable is what he is. But even at 323 pounds last season, Tyreek Williams was a force in the middle. He had a really good rookie season. Batting those balls is exactly what I was hoping that he was going to bring to the table in Detroit, because we just don't have enough guys getting their hands up. And I hope they continue to pound that technique this year with Casey Rogers and others, that they get their hands up, man. If you can't affect the pocket, if you can't affect the pass, the passer, you got to get those hands up. It's not going to hurt your pass rush just to get the hands up and bat it down. Like a batted ball is just as good as a sack. So he had at least 3 batted balls last year, which they're, like I said, just as good as a sack. You neutralize that down, got to start over. It'd be interesting to see what the Lions do. But I was hoping that Tyreek Williams is going to get down closer to 310 this year and tone up quite a bit. He had, kind of the pudgy belly a little bit last year. And every year we've seen our rookies, from the season prior, really turn into some phenomenal athletes by year 2, even more so than what they already are. But Tyreek Williams, when he was at Ohio State, prior to his last 2 seasons there, when he came in, he was a pass rush machine. But then they switched their defense and they asked him to be more of that run clogger. And he didn't have that pass rush upside as much as what he did, early as I believe freshman year, sophomore, his freshman year. So he has it in him. He can do it, but I also believe he needs to be at a better weight to be able to do it. As big as he is, he's slippery, man. He can get through the offensive line. So where I was going with all this was, how does Jonathan Allen fit? Well, Jonathan Allen, if the Lions were to take a swipe at him, he's 31 years old. His contract last season, I think it was quite a bit. But being released, obviously that market value, I believe, is going to drop a little bit. Simply because that's not what he needs to make now. But last year he was paid a $6.9 million cap hit. It was 23.5 in dead cap if they walked away last year. The Vikings just ate 17 plus million by releasing the dude. Like, they took their medicine by releasing Jonathan Allen and Hargrave at the same time and hoping to get Hargrave back. They even said that they wanted him to come back, but over 17 million. Here, let me manage the contract. I got to sign in real quick. Let me see what.
So if you had to choose between Allen and
Reader,
it's Allen, right?
Jonathan Allen or Reader?
Yeah, Jonathan Allen or Reader. Who would you choose and why?
Oh man, it's a good question.
Same amount of money.
Ask the chat for a minute while I'm looking up this, because that's a tough one.
Same amount of money.
Are you saying it could be the same amount of money?
Yeah. So let's say $8 million for 1 year, just $8 million, no strings attached. Which one would you take, Allen or Reader?
That's a great question. Let me put that into a poll.
If all things are considered equal. I'm going to look up and see what these guys did PFF-wise last year.
I'm going to throw 3 options: DJ Reader, Jonathan Allen, or neither. That's your poll question.
right.
J-Rod, are you listening to some music or something? You said the world is turning. What the hell does that mean? It's always turning. It's always
Jonathan
turning.
Allen did not have very good grades last year.
K-Biz says it's hammer time, man. Hammer that like button, y'all. He says, let's get this thing up over 100 again. Yesterday we broke 200. Probably not going to do a long marathon today. Quite simply, I've lost my voice. We're already coming up on 10 o'clock. We haven't even gotten into anything yet. Isn't that crazy? There's Nightbot active again. It says, help us raise awareness for thyroid cancer by donating $5 today. And you can do that at buymeacoffee.com, buymeacoffee.com/rockdown. Doing donations, I'll just be straight up with you guys. It's much better to do the donations on Buy Me a Coffee. Like, I wholly appreciate all of them through the super chats and all of that. But we get more benefit through Buy Me a Coffee because Buy Me a Coffee only takes 4%. YouTube takes 33%. So your money goes longer and further if it goes through Buy Me a Coffee. Now, I'm not saying not to use YouTube. I'm just saying you have other options. Yeah, Nightbot's on it. I think he's been or it has been fairly behaved today.
Yeah. Looking at these guys' PFF grades, DJ Reader is an overall at a 68, and Jonathan Allen is at a 53.2. Now, he played 809 snaps, where DJ Reader played 583, much less.
Well, DJ Reader played less, right?
Yep. So DJ Reader had about almost half the snaps and had 20 pressures, where Jonathan Allen almost double and only had 34 pressures.
So there's a difference. Like, these guys are not equal in players. Jonathan Allen is, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, he's more of a hybrid DT edge, whereas Reader is just your straight up nose tackle, defensive tackle.
Yeah. Jonathan Allen had 4 sacks last year. DJ Reader had 0.
And we also have to take into account that if he's playing, I don't know how many snaps, you can look, if you're on PFF, you can go to premium and then you go in and you look at the top right, toggle the box, and you go snaps by position.
Yep.
And then you can see where Jonathan Allen played more of his snaps. What I see, I'll pull it up right now.
Okay.
So I can look at it too. I'm curious where he played more of his snaps. And then if you do detailed positions, you got to toggle that on.
Oh, okay.
All right. So 807 snaps on the line. He played 200 at left tackle, 323 at right tackle. So that's about the same amount as Reader did all season and in the tackle position. He also played 74 as left end. He played 25 outside left end. So that 7 probably was not out in the wide 9, but he's probably in that 6-eye or 7 slot. He had 2 at nose tackle. And then 163 out on the right end. And 16 outside right end. So combined, he probably had closer to 250 snaps out at end and the balance interior. Whereas Reader is a solid interior. So what I would say is when you look at those numbers, the way I would interpret it is it's harder to get a pressure off the edge as it is through the center. And even through the center, it's fairly difficult, right? But he's playing both positions. And so this sums it up for me that Jonathan Allen is a DT edge hybrid. And that is an exact type of player that the Lions would be looking to add if you're looking to add another edge that is going to replace the Josh Paschal, which, by the way, bad news yesterday. One of the players that has really, when I was reading through In Brad We Trust yesterday, Volume 1, I always tear up a little bit when I talk about Josh Paschal because anytime You know, you talk about cancer and a player that has, you know, fought through cancer. It's tough, man. It hurt. It reaches my heart. But he was released yesterday. Expected. We all expected it. But I just hope he's okay, health-wise. Football is secondary to life. May not seem like that every day, but it is. So anyway, I just want to say best wishes, best of luck to Josh Paschal. So back to the conversation. Jonathan Allen, does he make sense? He does. I think he does. If you're looking to replace and add an edge defensive tackle hybrid, assuming that the Lions are going to stick with those types of positions this year and we're not changing the defense, which I don't expect that either. I think that they're going to get more creative with the defense and how they're doing things, but I think that he would be a good option. He's older. He's a vet. It is what it is. The contract that Minnesota just ate. Come on. There we go. Let's release him. Wow. They took a $17.3 million cap hit. And they saved, get this, they saved 6.5. That's all they saved was 6.5 by releasing the guy. I don't know where they were cap-wise before the 4 p.m. deadline, but they only saved 6.5. So he's going to get 17.3. He was due to make 28 or 23.9 this year. So if we do the math, does that mean that he wants 17 million to play this season? Potentially. Or could you put him on a 2-year, $20 million, 7.5 guaranteed, and a lot of incentives? Potentially. I don't know. He's at the end of his career. There's an option. I think it's a good option.
I've never seen a poll this equal before.
What is it?
35%, 32%, and 32%.
34 votes. How many people do we have in?
139.
Oh, man, step it up. Step it up. We do pretty good all week, man. We've carried 250 to 300 in every show except for today, which I think everyone's kind of had their fill of free agency this week.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate all the new subscribers, both here and at DetroitFootballJournal.com. If you did subscribe to DetroitFootballJournal.com, I will be doing upgrades later on today. So you get your upgrade today. Next up. Cam Jordan still available. I'm less. I would rather have Jonathan Allen than Cam Jordan in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Younger. Maybe you could say that Cam Jordan has, higher pass rush upside, but I would say that Jonathan Allen brings more of that youth ability. And you pair him on the opposite of Aiden, when he has his opportunities to be opposite of Aiden, then, imagine Jonathan Allen and AQM on one side and Aleem McNeil on the other with Aiden Hutchinson, and throw Tyleek in the middle and do a 5-man front, and you start running a 5-2-4, right? On certain downs, primarily first down, you run a 5-2-4. There's not many teams that are going to be able to mess with that offensively. They're not going to be able to run against it, and then they're going to have to try to pass against it. And if you've got Jack Campbell in the middle and we have a better will linebacker, Derek Barnes would have to be off the field in this case. I would almost rather see 3 safeties on the field in that instance and 2 corners. So 2 corners on the outside. You drop 1 safety in the middle. You roll 2 safeties up, up closer to the box. So it's almost like a 4-man linebacker row, but it's really 2 safeties, 2 linebackers. So you have speed, you have run stuffing ability, and they can handle tight ends and running backs. And the linebackers can stay clean. There's only 5 options, right, on an offense. You have a running back, a tight end, or a running back and 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers. So if your two receivers are covered, your two safeties can take the two tight ends, or the tight end and the receiver. The only person that you have left to cover is the running back. And if you got 5 guys up front, well, they're going to be able to handle the running back going wide and through the middle. And then you've got Jack Campbell to go clean it up. To me, that's almost a perfect defense if you have the right personnel. It's almost a perfect defense, especially even if you were to replace one of the edge with, God, I hope it happens, a guy like Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese, and you can bring them up on the line on the outside, and then they can drop back in coverage if needed. So you're going to show blitz, and then you're going to drop back. You still rush 4, but if they're running the ball, Reese is going to slam it home. And if they're passing the ball and he's got to cover a tight end, he might pick it off. I want to see more of that 5-2-4 look, but I would rather see. I'm sorry, it'd be one corner and 3 safeties. I'd rather see 3 safeties on the field. Roll 2 of them up, 1 in the back, 1 corner on the outside. If you have the right safety in the game that can handle the other wide receiver, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Be interesting to see what the Lions do this year. There's options. All right, you had a question before I started going through this. What was it? Because we were going to roll to something different.
Yeah, well, I have a question about we're forgetting about a player.
Al-Qadim Muhammad?
No, that did not play for us last year, but due to a tolling issue, we have him under contract, and that's Levi Onwuzurike.
Yep, he'll be back this year.
Isn't he kind of that defensive tackle edge hybrid also?
He is. It just depends on his playing weight, but man, my ears is buzzing.
It seemed like he was on a really good trajectory, and then he gets hurt in OTAs.
Exactly.
Misses the whole entire season. I just wonder, because the Lions didn't release him, they released Josh Paschal, if Levi's going to kind of fill that in-between role.
Not as much. So Levi, he can play inside out. He's more inside. It's not to say that you won't use him off on the edge when you got your 4 guys up on the line. It's not to say that he won't. You can do the same thing with PFF. You could go in and drop in Levi Onwuzurike and go back to 2024. And let's take a look at his snap counts real quick. His grades were all green. He was having a really good year. He was rated as a top 26 defensive tackle. Yep. Out of 132 eligible defensive linemen. He was top 26. And Ali McNeil was somewhere in like that top 10, top 15 range, but he was top 10 through the majority of the season until he got busted up, week 15. So we were doing fine. And if Brad is thinking that, everyone's healthy, we have Aleem, we have Tyleek, we have Levi, they're all going to compete anyway. Nothing is concrete. Levi would be, probably the first one out, if it came down to that. But you're right that it's someone that we need to pay attention to as to what could be happening. Where's his stats? Did this just move to 25? Yeah, it did. There we go.
That may be a secret weapon that no one's thinking about. That
well, I think people are sick of it.
Brad Holmes has in his back pocket. Everybody's thinking, "Oh, that's another second round wasted pick. Another second round wasted pick. Another guy that got injured and go nowhere. Second and third round, Brad sucks."
Yeah, no, he doesn't. I'm not going to continue to talk about it either. It gets wasted. It's just wasted airspace to us.
Oh my God, Art Vandelay. Dan Jackson's still on our team. He could be our week 1 safety.
Hey, Dan was playing well, but again, I'm not going to give him any credibility.
Hey, you got to see it.
He's got to play in a regular season game. He has to at least play in a preseason game. and see what the guy has. But I'll be straight up. At practice, the dude was playing.
Yeah.
And I don't care that he was a 7th round pick. He comes from the Alabama bloodline, and there's something to him. But what it is, we don't know. So to your point about Levi, he played equally across the line, which is unique.
Yeah.
In 2024, 700 snaps, 139 at interior left, 136 interior right, 168 left end.
Oh, wow.
115 right end. So he played exactly almost inside and outside equally. So he can do it. He can. But the reason why he was doing it more in 2024, do you know the reason? You got to think about it for a moment.
Hutch was hurt?
Keep on going.
Everybody got hurt.
Everybody was hurt. Everybody. So Levi was asked to do more, and he shined. It wasn't perfect, right? And I think that's where fans, they're like, well, he didn't do squat. Like he's not our edge. Why is he out there on edge? Well, we don't have anybody. I'm sorry. When you're down to your 7th and 8th defensive end, and you've picked up multiple guys off of waiver wires, you're kind of at the mercy of A, what's available, B, who's healthy. You got to do what you got to do. But Levi shined. He didn't go out and get you 15 sacks. And by the way, not many guys get more than 9. Look, I don't know if you want to pull it up, Eric, but pull up the sacks from last year. How many guys had more than 9 sacks last season?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say it's probably less than 9 guys. I'm just going to take a guess. Probably less than 9
edge
guys.
Or defensive tackle?
All. So just pull up the sack leaders. Just punch in sack leaders 2025.
Okay.
So back in 2023, Levi was injured, right? He didn't play, but 15 snaps? He didn't play. 2022, he was injured. He didn't play at all. 2021, he put out 33, 50 snaps, didn't play. So I get it. I understand it. Levi, coming into Detroit, did not perform. And you're 5 seasons in now. So go into your 6th season. Like he was drafted in 21, right? 21?
So
yeah, 21. He was drafted in 21. And so you're entering your 6th season with a guy that through the first 4 seasons of being active, he's probably put up a total of 1,000 snaps in 4 years, where you would have wanted to see that player probably by now have 2,000 snaps. He should be a 50 to 60% snap share guy in on a rotation between, him and Aleem next to each other, him and Pascal next to each other, Pascal and Aleem. You would have wanted him to see at least 55 to 60% of the snap load. That's what you should expect. These guys are not 100%ers. They're not 90. They're not 80. They're not 75. Interior defensive linemen, if they're getting 50 to 65% of the snap load, that's what you should expect. Well, he got about 25% because he was injured. So I understand that the sentiment from Lions fans where they say it was a busted pick. Yeah, so far it hasn't worked out. But I'm going to go back and look at 2024 when he was healthy and when he was playing at a high level, a very high level. And so you don't give up on players like that just because they've battled some injuries. Is he going to end up being the all-star that you expected him to be? No. But can he go in and be a wrecking ball when he's healthy? 1,000%. And he's had he's got brand new tires, man. His back may not be 100%, but his tires are new. The guy hasn't worn down. He hasn't taken all the shots that these guys have taken through the last 5 seasons. So he still has a higher propensity to succeeding than not. So I would say that he has a big opportunity if he sticks between now and OTAs and after the draft, he has a big opportunity to produce this year, assuming that he's healthy. Now, he's had plenty of time to get healthy. He didn't play at all last year. So he's got plenty of time to get healthy. Now he just has to put it together like he did in 2024. If we get that production out of him in 2024, I'm good with it. I'm excited about it.
So you asked a question. How many people got 9 or more sacks? According to Fox Sports, there's 19. Couple in the people in the chat put 17 and 18, but according to Fox Sports, it's 19 players, and only one team had 2 players on that list above 19.
And that was the Detroit Lions.
Exactly.
Yep. So outside of the Lions, there's 17 players.
Yes.
Out of a league. So let me grab my phone and try to do some math here. Well, let's see. You've got 32 right, 32 left, 32 right, 32 left. Just out of the immediate 4 starters in a 4-3 base, that's 128 players. It's left end, right end, interior right, interior left. So that's 14.8% of starters had more than 9 sacks. And so did you do 10 sacks and up or 9 sacks and up?
9 sacks.
Oh, it's 10 sacks and up. So more than 9.
All right. So you want to get more than 9. So then you're looking at 17.
Okay, 17.
10 or more, you're looking at 17.
17. So we have to take that 128 and multiply it by 2 because you have backups, right? You have your first and second level backups. And a lot of Lions fans think that all of our backups are supposed to get 10 or more sacks for some reason. So you have 17 divided by 256. That is 6.7% or 6.6% of players in the NFL have 10 sacks or more in a season. Now, that was all players, Eric? That was all defensive linemen, outside linebackers, edge?
Yeah, that's it didn't matter on position.
Okay. So let's take that number even further, because now you're talking about linebackers. I was just thinking of defensive line. So if you did all, well, that's 256 times 2 now.
I just have defensive stats, 2025 regular season sacks.
So that's 3.3%. 3.3% of all front 7 players last year had more than 10 or more sacks. 3.3%. But yet, for some reason, the Lions suck because we had 2 players inside that 3.3%. That's pretty impressive. If you're telling me that you hit twice on a position that, or all positions that should have 10 or more sacks, Lions are doing something right. So miss me with the whole edge crap. Miss me with the whole sack crap. The Lions are doing way better than anybody else. I don't know, man. Make it make sense.
Well, you want to know something else? I only see one rookie that had 10 or more sacks.
And that was James Pierce, right?
Yeah, and he won't be playing in the NFL.
Nope, he's done.
So to get one in the draft that's going to get you 10 or more sacks, that's, at least according to last year, it's pretty rare. Only one player out of last year's draft got 10 or more sacks.
That's kind of funny. Art Vandelay says, crazy. The Raiders and the Jets led the NFL in quarterback pressures. And where are the Raiders picking this year?
Number 1.
And where are the Jets picking?
Number 2.
Number 5, right?
Oh, I thought it was number 2.
Are they at number 2?
2 or 3, because they can't get a quarterback because there's nobody left. I don't remember the draft position. I thought it was 2.
Oh, you're right. It is 2. So the top 2 teams that led in pressures are also picking at the top 2 spots in the draft. Huh. Interesting. So tell me again how getting the most pressures and the most sacks helps you win a Super Bowl. If the the best teams are finishing last. It doesn't make any sense. It's not that it's not needed. It's not that it's not a respected stat that teams should aim for. It's just the goal is not aiming for stats. The goal is to shut your opponent down. And that if that comes through a sack, a TFL, a batted football, an interception, a fumble, a tackle, they're all needed. All stats should be created equal, right? Or treated equally because they're all equally important. If you're really good at getting sacks, but you can't tackle anybody, you're going to lose a lot of games. If you're really great at allowing players to catch footballs, but you drop them, every 5 or 6 yards after the catch, probably not going to win a lot of football games. But if you're able to break up that pass, maybe grab an interception or two here or there, you're going to win more football games because you're giving the opportunity back to your quarterback to go and score points. And that's why I will always say fumbles, interceptions are the most important stat on the field next to TFLs. TFLs will always be the most important stat to me. And that includes sacks. It's part of the equation. All right, quick update on rules. For those of you that are in right now, a lot of you that are in right now are obviously very, very well behaved. Very much appreciated. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. So I just want to go through a quick update here. Now, these are not meant to be... Oh. Go back and find it. We try to have a chat that is what we call the adults in the room, the people that get along. Not everyone is going to have the same opinion, and that's okay. It's just how we treat each other. And we haven't had any real issues this week. But I just want to be very upfront that what the mods look out for, what YouTube looks out for, and what the bot will look out for. And it's very simple. Like, number one, we don't treat people, with any sort of slander, racial, sexual, innuendos, discrimination, anything like that. Obviously, if it happens, you'll get one warning. That's a little bit more lenient than I have been in the past, but you will get one warning. Your message will be deleted. If it happens again, you will get banned for the day. If you come back and if you do it again, you will be banned for life. We don't treat people like that. You could disagree with people. You absolutely have your First Amendment rights in this chat. If you don't like Alliance football player, that's okay. Your message should not be deleted. You should be able to have an open voice, an open opinion to talk about anything. But when it turns into completely disrespecting others in the chat or distracting the show or the chat, you'll get a little leash. You'll get a warning. If you do it again, you'll get a warning. If you do it again, all your messages will be deleted if they're disrespectful, attacking others and saying things, right? We just don't want to see that. So just be behave. The mods know what is expected, but you guys need to know what's expected too, because I can't post everything ahead of time. Like, YouTube doesn't give me a platform to post every rule, and they're very basic when you enter the chat. So just be kind, man, courteous, but have a voice. Like, it's okay to have a voice. It's okay to say, you know what? I don't like Jared Goff. I don't like Jamir Gibbs. I don't like Sam Laporta. I don't like Aiden Hutchinson. Whatever. But try to bring some fact to it. Bring some reasoning to it. A lot of people are going to say, I think Brad Holmes should be fired, or Brad Holmes is not doing enough. That's okay. That's your opinion. But when it turns into distraction, that's where we don't want our chat to have a problem, because people come to this chat to have engaging conversations. And that's what we want to have. Engagement. Good quality engagement. But absolutely your First Amendment right should belong in the chat as well. I'm 100% behind that. No F-bombs. They get deleted right away. If you do it again, you get banned for a day. If you do it again, you're just not coming back. I slip probably 2 or 3 times a year. But try to keep the cussing to a minimum. We do have sponsors and things like that, and I want to make sure that we try to keep things PC as much as we can. So outside of that, just have fun and have fun engagement with everybody. What's next?
So another name to look at was just released by the Cleveland Browns, and that's tackle Jack Conklin. What would you think about him? 6'6", 308 pounds, 31 years old.
I don't think right now. Is he a former Spartan?
Because I mean, he's been there since 2016.
Yeah, he didn't have a good year last year.
No, but before that, he was doing pretty good. 24 was okay. 23 was excellent. 22 was pretty good.
I don't even know what side he plays on.
I'm pretty sure he's left.
It says primary right tackle.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I'm trying to look up his
Oh, yeah, he's a right tackle.
his snaps. Yeah, we don't need a right tackle right now. We have 4 of them. Yeah, he played right tackle primary. He also did special teams as well. But no, I'd say no.
That's the only name that of note that was released today.
Whoops. I don't know what I just did. All right, so I'm going to go through winners and losers.
All right.
So why don't you kick it off, man? Winners and losers, are you doing teams or are you doing players?
Well, I'll do teams. So, let's start with this one. Let's see.
Oh, I got to pause you for just a second. I forgot to mention this. Heard some information last night, and I think Adam Schefter or somebody may have confirmed it. But very interesting that this year in free agency, and through trades and everything else, that teams are looking to 2027. They don't want picks in 26 because the quarterback class is going to be so good next year that apparently a lot of teams, when they're asking for compensation in trades, they want 2027 draft capital. And there was no bias as to like which teams were asking for that. Like all teams have been interested in more of the 2027 draft capital. And in next year's draft, as far as quarterbacks is concerned, I mean, Arch Manning, I believe, will finally enter the draft. I mean, it's expected. But the 2027 prospects, if you take a quick early look at quarterbacks, you're talking Arch Manning, Dante Moore, I believe, who could have came out this year but decided to hang back one more season. Brendan Sorsby out of Texas Tech, Trinidad Chambliss, who initially was coming out this year, then decided to go back. I'm not high on him. He's too short. Isaac Brown out of Louisville. That's a running back. Ahmed Hardy out of Missouri. That's a running back. Kawan Lacey out of Ole Miss, another running back. Wide receivers, Cam Coleman from Texas. He's a stud. Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State. I mean, they're just wide receiver you down there. Ryan Williams out of Alabama. He's going to be another big one. Tight ends, you've got Terrence Carter from Texas Tech. Like Texas Tech is somehow just exploded out of the last 5-6 seasons. They've just exploded onto the scene. And I think a lot of it has to do with this NIL money, that's being thrown around. But they also have Tradez Green, another tight end out of LSU, Jamari Johnson out of Oregon. Got to look at him this year with Kenyon Sadiq on the other side, and those two are really, really, really impressive. He sometimes overshadowed Kenyon Sadiq. That's pretty tough to do, but he's definitely that prototypical size, 6'5", 257. He's a big dude. Offensive tackles next year this is another reason why teams are looking to next year for left tackles. There's going to be a bigger emphasis on left tackles in next year's draft. And I'm hoping, that the Lions have their eyes on that, I'm sure, but I'm hoping they're not waiting till next year to find that left tackle in the draft, because we need to win today. But there's some good options. You got Brandon Baker, Trevor Gooseby, Jordan Seaton, and on the interior, there's plenty of good players. Cohen Eccles, Caden Green, Sheridan Wilson. Edge rushers, you've got John Henry Daly coming out of Michigan. That dude was an absolute unit last year. 11.5 sacks, 17.5 tackles for loss. But he did suffer a lower body injury, ended his season early. Colin Simmons out of Texas, another sophomore, so he'll be a junior this season. Dylan Stewart out of South Carolina. And then defensive tackles are supposed to be fairly deep as well. AJ Holmes Jr., David Stone, Amari Washington. And I didn't expect it to take this long, Eric, but I think what we're finally seeing, COVID really screwed everything up, because you had 2 seasons in there where a lot of players didn't play. They took exemptions, and the quality of player, and this is something that I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Brad Holmes, with as well. People question, well, why did 2024 and 2025 drafts maybe not be as explosive or as good as 2023? Well, for 2 reasons or 3 reasons. One, we're picking later, right? And 2, the draft classes were just not explosive. They weren't as loaded. Some great players came out of the drafts, but where the Lions were picking, and when you got into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, just took a complete nosedive for talent. You're finally starting to see between this year and 26, or for next year, 27's draft, I think we're finally out of it. I think that these players are finally taking that next step in their production or in their ability, their training, because they didn't miss any seasons. They didn't miss any time. These guys have spent 3, 4, 5 seasons at the collegiate level where they didn't have to take exemptions and miss, 2020 or 2021. That really took a lot out of the development from players entering the draft in 2024 and 2025. To a lesser extent, 2023. Some of those players that took exemptions in 2020, they may have spent an extra year in college, or they might have come out early. But again, I'm going to give that benefit to Brad Holmes, because those drafts just weren't as good with the developmental stages of the players. And now this draft, I think, is the first draft that we're starting to see that we've turned the corner there. And next year is going to be even better. So this team is going to totally transform itself once again between the next 2 drafts, 2026 and 2027. There's also some really good linebackers coming out and some good corners coming out. We're going to have multiple first-round grades, even though some of these guys may not go till the 2nd round because of quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks entering the draft. So I think next year, even though the Lions might take a flyer on a 5th or 6th round pick this season, I think next year might be the year that we start looking at Jared Goff's replacement, not because he needs to be replaced, but you need someone in the pocket, right? They need to be getting groomed and ready to go. And to be honest with you, we haven't seen that yet. Hendon Hooker was supposed to be that. He didn't work out. It was not really a high stakes gamble because you already grabbed 4, all Pro Bowl guys in the first 4 picks. Hooker was kind of a luxury pick, if you will, and could have been a first round talent had he not been injured. But it was kind of a gamble because that Tennessee offense was a unicorn. I mean, not standardized at all. Very funky, clunky, and he just didn't catch it quick enough in Detroit. They expected that. They thought it was going to be a couple of years, but Hooker just didn't work out. Next year, I think, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I feel that the Lions are going to take the approach of the Packers. They're going to grab somebody, and they're going to sit them down for a year at least, if not 2. It could be a first-round pick, and it could be an early second-round pick. It could be an extra first-round pick that they grab someone to get 5 years of control on, and they sit them down for a couple of seasons and get them groomed up behind Jared Goff, and then they finally have their future. And I would say that Jared Goff's probably on his last contract in Detroit, if that happens. Thoughts?
Sorry about that. I agree with that. You know, Jared Goff's only going to last so long in Detroit. Because he's played, 10 years now? 11 years?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, so you're going to have to start looking for the future. I mean, every person on this team eventually is going to be replaced. That's the one thing, just like death and taxes, you are going to be replaced in the NFL. There's no one that stays forever except for maybe Tom Brady, but he was a misnomer. He was an outlier. It takes a very special person to play 10 or more years in the NFL. The average for an NFL player is 3 years. The NFL chews them up, spits them out, and goes on to the next. And QB is a position with a lot of volatility, as you can ask any Lion who went through 95 through 2020. Until Matt Stafford, it was Joey Harringtons and Rodney Peets and Ty Detmers. And I mean, Dan Orlovsky's, we went from quarterback to quarterback to quarterback to quarterback. So eventually it's going to happen. We're going to have to replace Jared Goff. And I would love to see this year or next year us take someone. We're going to have to take a flyer on someone in the second or the first round just to be the quarterback of the future. But when you do that, you're doing something very dangerous in Detroit. You are adding the most polarizing figure in Detroit sports, and that's a decent backup quarterback. And when you do that, everyone wants that player to play because they think the starter now sucks.
I don't know if it'll get to that degree, but yeah, I hear you.
It was for so long. Every quarterback we had, it was always the backup was better. Always.
You didn't mention my favorite backup.
Which one?
Kitna.
Oh, John Kitna. He was
starter,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, I like John Kitna because that was when we first got Megatron. I remember going to the Packers game at Ford Field and watching John Kitna throw to this rookie Megatron and threw the ball over the middle, and he just looked like a gazelle, just these giant long strides, and he didn't even look like he was running that fast. He's just running away from everybody, goes to the end zone, dunks it over the crossbar. And that was one of my favorite Megatron memories, was watching John Kitna throw him the ball. Love John Kitna.
All right, you know what that means. We've got a new member here to the Lions Faithful, so I want to make sure that I give a big shout out to @Travis Laurie number 9. Thank you for joining today's stream and joining our membership. Just in case you're not aware, I'll tell you right now, we're doing jersey raffle for Isaac Tesla. And because you're now a member, you get 2-for-1 odds if you do visit the buymeacoffee.com/rocked on, ROCKEDON. Links are throughout the chat. You purchase a ticket for $5, you get 2 cracks at it. So for every ticket you purchase, you get 2. You don't have to, just letting you know that is available to you. But let's get you kicked off with a Detroit Lions touchdown for joining the Lions Faithful.
Amon-Ra flips it out to Gibbs. He's to the house, baby. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, that is beautiful.
And thank you, Travis, for scoring a touchdown here with Rockdown Detroit Lions. Good morning to you. And thank you. Also, a quick shout out to JRod313, $10 super chat this morning. Attila the Hun Detroit, $5 super chat this morning. And User Fan, since 50s, $10 super chat this morning. I have now dialed ads all the way back to the minimum. We didn't quite hit our goal, but you know what? We did good enough. We'll take the mulligan for the day. Nightbot says if you want to help us raise awareness for thyroid cancer by donating $5 today, you can also visit buymeacoffee.com/rockdon. And if you go to the shop page, there's a few things in there that we do offer. Looks like Nightbot is at it again and says, if you want the latest Lions news, must be hearing me talk. Rumors and draft analysis, get a free 6-month membership today if you sign up on DetroitFootballJournal.com. All you do is put your email in, and again, sign up for free. I'm upgrading everybody today to a free 6-month paid membership. It's about $50-$60, something like that, that we're going to waive to get you guys involved. Our goal is growth and having the best chat and channel about your Detroit Lions. All right, we've got some breaking news. Here we go. According to Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online on Twitter, says per sources, the Lions are indeed re-signing wide receiver Route 85, Tom Kennedy, and linebacker Trevor Nowaski. Sounds like both those guys are going to be back in. Terms of the deal, not yet known. So they did not. Here, let me read this a little bit further. It says anyone reacting to this headline should know that if they had tendered either player, it meant a minimum deal of $3.647 million. They did not tender either one of those players. If I remember our conversation earlier, Eric, they did not do that. Yep. So that means the deal's going to be a lot less than that, is what I would gather. So big shout out to Jeremy Reisman for getting that information out this morning. Well, it's probably a good time to go through quick update what's going on around the league. And then we'll get into winners and losers. I lost my... There it is. Got a whole new system over here, and I'm lost. Too many things open. So Spotrac, excuse me, has they have all the free agency moves in here. Have you noticed that?
No, but Pride of Detroit says the new Lions offensive tackle Larry Borum is talking with the media right now. Said his mom started crying when she heard he was coming home.
I'm coming home.
So I don't know if there's a live
Well, let's check.
video or not. Just figured I'd tell you that since I saw that.
Give me just a second, everybody. We'll be right back here in just a few moments. Take a quick break. As soon as I can find out where I put my break at. Good Lord.
We taking what, 60 seconds?
As soon as I can get this up, we'll be back. Yep. I just can't find my break. Everything got dumped, so I had to fix it. All right, here we go.
Throwing middle, caught inside the 5. Jamir Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. 14 yards on the strike. Goff to Gibbs. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
Nice job.
Jared takes the snap back, looking, throwing middle. Got Amon-Ra inside the 2, to the 1, to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
Nice job.
Mariota's got it back. Pressure comes. He's hit. Slips out of it. Rolling to his right. Now he's going down. Brian Branch got him. Sack for the Lions. Snap taken by Mariota. Wants to throw it. Going to get hit. Going to get sacked.
Yes,
Take it down. Brian Branch got him second time today.
Nice job.
Hands it to Gibbs, running right, runs through a tackle, gets down to the 10, Gibbs through the 5, still fighting, down to the 2, down to the 1, to the end zone!
Yes.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! He did not quit!
Nice job.
I'm not seeing anything for a live on Larry Borum.
Goff to throw
If somebody
again,
else
does.
is, please let me know. If
Middle,
one of the mods see it,
J-Mo
please send it
angling
over.
into the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions! J-Mo flips into the end zone for 6.
Nice job. You talking about gut punch up the middle, then talking about tossing.
All right, I didn't see anything on Larry Borum live. So what were they saying?
It just says this from Pride of Detroit. It says new Lions offensive tackle Larry Borum, a Michigan native, is talking with the media right now. Said his mom started crying when she heard he was coming home.
So maybe they're
just beat reporters meeting with him.
could be. I'm surprised by that they're not doing the live. They always do the lives every year of the players' press conferences when they get into the building.
Yeah.
So either they're on a big delay or they're changing things up this year,
Yeah.
which sucks.
Maybe they're going to edit it first.
Or maybe it could be. Is it on the Lions app?
Ah. Yeah, because I see nothing scheduled from the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Which I'm hoping that we get a press conference out of Dan or Brad or somebody. I can't remember if they did last year. All I see is a post on the Lions app.
Yeah, about him.
Yeah, I don't see any videos or lives.
Nope.
I got a question for you guys. How many of you are planning on going to Germany? Now, I know that there's some outfits out there, and I'm just going to say it because it really ticked me off, but I let some people know that I was planning on doing away game trips, and then they decided to be snakes and start doing it, and then the Lions, jumped in on it, which is fine. They do whatever the hell they want, but I just thought it was a grimy move, and we're still going to do them, but we're not charging $7,900 to go to Germany when I just looked the other day. I can get
airfare.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm sorry. Meeting Lomas Brown is not worth $7,900. And yeah, so I looked the other day at a 5-star hotel in Germany, right where the what's that stadium called? Horizon or Ariza or whatever. It's right next to the stadium. A full suite. Like 800 square feet, massive suite, was like $1,800 including airfare for a week in Germany. $1,800.
Wonder how much the tickets are going to be over there.
Probably $200, $300, $400, depending on where you want to sit. There's like 120,000 seats in that stadium, so they don't need to charge massive amounts of money.
I'll be in the nosebleeds if it's cheap.
The nosebleeds.
Yeah, I don't care where I sit.
Well, anyway, I got to get a new passport this year, but I'm considering going, and the reason why I'm asking, I mean, I really want to go, but the reason why I'm asking is if people would like to go in on a trip together, that where we fly together and go down fly over as a group and make some memories with it, do some videos and some pictures and all that good stuff. I would love to do that. I don't care if it's 10, 20, 30 people. I would say we need a minimum of 10. And then I can work with one of my agents to get us a better deal. But I'm considering, like, we got to secure, if I can get that deal on that room, and everybody will have their own room. So if you're going with a partner, a friend, a wife, a husband, obviously you'll have your own suite. But if you want to share a 2-bedroom room with somebody to knock down the cost, we can do that too. I'll probably set it up to where it's just one cost, where you plan on having somebody in there. But if you don't want to be roomed with a stranger, then I completely understand that. Just know that you'll pay a little bit more. I know last year when I was doing the bus trips, it was about $100 a night discount to do a single room for a single person. And I am going to do some away games this year. So when the schedule comes out on, May 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever it's going to be, that's when deposits have to be in. So if you're going to do it this year, I'm going to do 3 trips and that's it. And they'll probably do Chicago, probably do Green Bay. And then I want to do one other stadium that, that we haven't been to yet. So I'll do 3. And deposits are going to be about $500. It'll be the same rules as everybody else. Once the schedule comes out, we do deposits. And once the finalization of the total price and everything is known, which I usually know pretty much everything up front, you have 7 days to rescind. And if you don't, your deposit's lost because I can't get it back. So I'll put everything together. I'll put it up on Buy Me a Coffee. I was using the other platform. I can't remember the name of that platform. Do you remember the name of the platform I was using?
Ticket something.
It was some ticket agency, but there's no reason for me to do that when I can do it all on Buy Me a Coffee. The only difference is they promote it here. You can find it there. But if I promote it here, people should be able to find it. It's not like we're, the bus is only 50 people. And I have 5 spots for me, so I need 45 people to go to each bus. To give you an idea, again, I don't know what prices are going to be this year, but to give you an idea, a day trip was about $800 a person, and that includes full tailgate. And we're talking really good food, full catered. I usually work with specific catering companies that have a cause, like Mission Barbecue. They have a cause. It goes back to our veterans. So they'll bring in, everything. We'll have brisket. We'll have pulled pork. We'll have possibly ribs. They're really expensive. Lemonades, iced teas. You bring your own beer, your own wine, whatever you want to drink. But I also I'll pack the bus full of snacks. Like you'll have boxed lunch on the way there and on the way back. You'll have all sorts of chips and cookies. There'll be gluten-free options. There'll be waters and sodas. All sorts of stuff, candies, you name it. It'll be loaded. And then we also do a giant raffle. So everybody that purchases a ticket, they get 1 raffle ticket. And then raffle tickets above and beyond that are $25 a piece. And we're raffling off, you really can't see behind me, but you're talking like a 36 or 24 by 36 piece, like a Lions piece that could have a jersey in it, all autographed. You've seen them probably at any sports store that carries that kind of stuff. They're really expensive. Glover Quinn makes them, but they're really expensive. You're talking anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a piece. We raffle off one of those for every trip, and so when you get back, whoever the winner is, it gets mailed directly to you, or you can pick it up to make sure that it doesn't get broken. But they're usually packed extremely well with insurance and all that good stuff too. So we go way above and beyond. This isn't cheap stuff. It's not a big money maker. All I want to make is about 10% to put into the kitty for Rockdown Cancer Foundation. And I don't think that that's too much to ask. And what the crazy thing is we're about 40% less than everybody else. And that's because we don't have big overhead, right? I don't have someone asking for the dollars. So we pass on the discount to you. So I'll have everything up here soon. I got to hurry on it because we're getting close. Anyway, let's just jump in right into winners and losers. We're kind of up against it. You got 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to have to hurry on this one. So I got 3 losers and 1 winner in free agency. My first loser is the Seattle Seahawks. They have not signed a single free agent. They've only re-signed 3 of their own. They re-signed wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, offensive tackle Josh Jones, and cornerback Joshua Jobe. And they lost quite a few. So Seattle, they're my number 1 loser because they basically haven't done anything. They haven't brought in a single free agent.
Okay, so you started with a loser. I'm going to start with a winner. Okay. And I'm going to do a player, and that is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, last year on a prove-it deal, was playing incredibly well. Just like what Sam Darnold did to resurrect his career, he did the exact same thing in Indianapolis. Obviously, the injury, with the Achilles late in the season, completely decimated the Colts and Daniel Jones. I think a lot of us were thinking, man, he's probably going to get screwed now. What a comeback story. But the exact opposite happened. He just signed a 2-year, $88 million deal that keeps him in Indianapolis for the next 2 seasons. Now, while the Achilles injury was in December and he's not expected to play this year, he's still going to have an opportunity to come back and play if he can. Otherwise, 2027, he's going to be making some pretty decent money to come back and play for this team. So, according to NFL media, Jones will earn $50 million this upcoming season before incentives, which includes $100,000 for each game that the Colts win, where Jones played 50% of the snaps, totaling up to $6 million. And if you look at Jones' NFL contracts, you would be surprised by how much money he's actually made. If he plays out his 2-year deal while hitting the incentives, Jones could make $196.6 million over a 5-year stretch dating back to 2023. That's an insane amount of money. That includes the 4-year deal he signed for $160 before that. So Jones is one of 4 quarterbacks in NFL history to receive two multi-year contracts worth at least $40 million per year, joining Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, and Dak Prescott.
Wow.
I can't believe that they signed him to this deal knowing that he's more than likely not playing this year. It's kind of nutty. I don't get it, but they did it. They've got to know something down there. Yeah. I don't know. So who's next?
Didn't he have an Achilles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's at least a 9-month deal, at least. And it happened in December, so that puts you at September. Week 1, he would just barely be getting back. If he makes it into training camp, not only would I be surprised, but that means he could play at least half the season, and that would be a remarkable comeback. And the fact that they're paying him $50 million this year, what were they thinking? But big winner, man. Colts, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but big winner in Daniel Jones. Who's next for you?
So my biggest winner, my one winner, might be the team that signed the most people. It's the Washington Commanders. So not only did they re-sign Marcus Mariota, but wide receiver Treylon Burks, and then they signed tight end Chigoziem
Chigokwankwu.
Yeah, and then offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil, Nick Algoretti, Andrew Weil, all on the offensive line, and then edge Kalavon Chaseon, and then Charles Amenahu, and also on the edge Adafe Owa, a guy that a few people wanted to see go to Detroit, and then another edge Dietrich Wise. So they signed 4 edge players, and defensive tackle Tim Settle, cornerback Amik Robertson to a 2-year, $16 million deal. And then linebacker Leo Chenol, safety Nick Cross, another one we wanted, punter Tress Whey, and kicker Jake Moody. I mean, these guys went on a tear. They spent some money. And I mean, a quarterback, a wide receiver, a tight end, 3 offensive linemen, 4 edge players, a defensive tackle, a cornerback, a linebacker, a safety, a punter, and a kicker. You want a team that stepped up and did something this year? It's the Washington Commanders. And seeing that they have this, quarterback, Jaden Daniels, on his rookie contract, they had a little bit of money they could spend because they don't have to spend it on quarterback yet. So they were my biggest winner because they did a lot.
Okay, so next up, I'll go to a team. And I'm going to take this one straight out of CBS Sports. I agree with it. The Raiders. Losers. How can they be losers? I don't think that they can be losers. I agree that they were forced to revisit their offseason plans after the Max Crosby deal blew up in their face.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that they're losers. So I'll agree with part of it. But the biggest winner out of this whole deal is Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza just got Tyler Linderbaum as his center. What a perfect pairing opportunity for the Vegas Raiders to bring in what is arguably the best center in the league, making the most money in the league ever for a center, and you're bringing in a quarterback at number 1. At least that's the plan so far. And you got Max Crosby back. I think that's a huge win. Now, they didn't get their first round picks back to help them, further build out their team. But now I think that this firmly puts the Vegas Raiders right into the contender situation immediately to make the playoffs. Tyler Linderbaum is going to be able to straighten Mendoza out immediately as long as the kid doesn't come in and become gun shy or play recklessly. As long as he can sit back and dial it up, with some good pass protection, I think that Fernando Mendoza will have a pretty damn good season. Even though I don't have him as one of my top 10 best athletes entering the draft, he's arguably the best quarterback entering the draft. But to a lesser degree, do I believe that he's going to be some all-pro type quarterback anytime soon. I think that Fernando Mendoza is going to take a few years to develop, and even then, as long as he has enough weapons around him, I think he's going to do fine. So I went with 2 winners in a row: Fernando Mendoza and Daniel Jones. Who's next for you?
Heard a rumor that the Raiders might be looking to bring Kirk Cousins in.
And that would line up exactly with what I heard 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
That I expected Kirk Cousins to go to Vegas. That's what my guy told me, that when he was going to get released, that the number 1 landing spot was Vegas. Number 2 was the Jets, but the Jets already brought in Geno. So that makes more sense now. The other landing spot was the Vikings, that Kirk was going to go back to Minnesota. But the Vegas just made much, much more sense to have a veteran presence in that room to back up Fernando Mendoza. And, who knows how much longer Kirk Cousins is really going to play, but to be a backup and a mentor, I think that suits him very well. And it gives him an opportunity in case something goes wrong.
Yeah. So my biggest loser, I think, of all of this is the Minnesota Vikings. They have signed 1 player in free agency that was not on the team last year, and that is cornerback James Pierre. Signed a 2-year, $8.5 million deal that included $3.7 million guaranteed and $2.5 million signing bonus. So, they reworked the deal with Aaron Jones. They brought him back. They reworked the deal to get Eric Wilson. They brought back safety Tavir Thomas and long snapper Andrew DePola. But what this doesn't say is that they lost half of their defense because they had to let them go to get under the cap. And this team was just decimated. Their what's his name, Hargrave, the defensive tackle, just signed with the Packers yesterday because they thought they could release him and bring him back. So I'm going to say that for me, my biggest loser of all of this is the Minnesota Vikings, and it's all because they were in cap hell.
Okay, so you went with a loser. I'm going to go with a loser, and I'm going to go with my first team here, Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jaguars, in what has been an odd transition from last season, last year they went out and traded up, which now I think a lot of people are looking back at the trade for Travis Hunter, kind of skeptical as to why. I mean, hindsight's bad, right? But looking back, Travis Hunter didn't really work out his rookie year. So the Jags had a lot of work to do this season, and they didn't. They've kind of failed. They don't have any first-round draft picks this year because of that trade. And now you're looking at the fact that they've lost linebacker Devin Lloyd. They've also lost Travis Etienne. And now they're kind of left holding an empty bag with Travis Hunter. No first-round picks. Coming off a 13-4 year. You were hoping to take some steps up. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to take some steps back here in 26. You have one more, right?
I did, but I want to switch it up. So I'm looking around at some of these teams. You know, the last one I had was the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I kind of had them as a loser. And the reason why is because I think they overpaid for Alex Anzalone, and I think they overpaid for, who was the other guy that was a former Lion they signed? Ashawn Robinson. I just think that they overextended for both of those players that are on the wrong side of the age bracket in the NFL. You know, these guys are probably looking at their last contracts, and other than Ashawn Robinson and Alex Anzalone, they really didn't do too much. They re-signed Cade Otton, and then they signed running back Kenneth Gainwell. But their biggest win was this one. They signed a backup quarterback for Baker Mayfield, and that is Jake Browning. So I guess you could say my winner here is Jake Browning.
So is this a winner or loser on the I'm confused.
So I think Tampa overall is a loser.
Yeah,
but I think they have a winner in there, and that's Jake Browning going to Tampa as their backup quarterback for Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield doesn't have the best injury history in the world. He always misses a couple games every year. So Jake Browning might get a chance to play a little bit like he did behind Joe Burrow.
I would kind of disagree on one part of that, and that is the Alex Anzalone portion. I don't know if you realize this, but they gave him $0 guaranteed dollars. So really they got him for free. You know, there's no guarantee there. If he doesn't make the roster, they don't owe him a penny. And he's, only looking at making what his base salary is plus any incentive pay, but no guarantee. Kind of makes you wonder how in the heck the Lions didn't retain that, because even at, $8 million, $8.5 million a year, whatever the number was, had no money guaranteed. Like that's a perfect setup.
If that's what the contract ends up being.
No, it is.
Yeah,
it is. No guaranteed money. That was as reported on Spotrac. Okay. Moving forward, I kind of have two more losers. There's more winners, but we're up against it. And I'm just going to go with one more loser here, and that is a name that we all know, and I got to play it. Loser and a winner. The loser is Jamir Gibbs. Got to shed a couple of tears here for Sonic and Knuckles. No longer in Detroit is David Montgomery, obviously traded by the Lions to Houston. So kind of two winners and a loser here. Jamir Gibbs loses his buddy, loses his running mate. The Lions lose their number 2 running back, but they also gained a 4th and a 7th round pick and a player in Juice Scruggs. So the Lions win. Jamir Gibbs loses, but David Montgomery also wins because now he gets an opportunity to go to the Texans as a lead back and show the world he can do it.
Did you happen to see the post that David made of him in a Texans uniform? And Jamir Gibbs got on and did a sad face.
Say that again?
Jamir Gibbs got on David Montgomery's post that he made. I don't know if it was on X or Instagram, but David posted a picture of him in his new Texans uniform. And Jamir Gibbs had a little sad emoji on there.
I didn't see that, no. I didn't see that. So it looks like Nightbot has done a pretty good job today. No timeouts. Pretty good. Let me get back to the post of the day or the poll of the day. Same money, same, well, I guess I didn't put the M on term, same money. Who would you want in free agency? I gave you 3 options. Jonathan Allen, DJ Reader, neither. 112 votes. One of the most equal polls we've seen in a long time. 33% said neither. 28% said DJ Reader. And just edging everybody out was 39% for Jonathan Allen.
Wow.
So there you go. That went from a no to nobody to 39% Jonathan Allen. That poll is now closed.
So we didn't help make up anyone's mind.
No. Well, maybe I did with the whole Jonathan Allen talk because, he does play inside out. He does play edge about 50% of the time, and he's interior about 50% of the time. So he's that perfect replacement for, the Josh Paschal position, as well as needing another big-bodied edge that can, give you pass rush upside through the middle. Maul those guards in as a 3-tech, but he can also kick outside, as the 5 or the 7. And he's not in the 7 very often, but at least kick outside, in the 5 and wreck the quarterback, hopefully, or at least shut down the run game. And then, to your point about Levi Onwuzurike, like there's still some high upside here for him to, take a crack at this season and maybe win a position on this roster and get back to his 2024 form, which he was a top 26 defensive tackle that year. And he played a lot out on the edge. So all of that looks like, I know you got to run. So if you want to give your final,
keep going.
Yep. If you want to give your final of the day.
Just my final. We have to be patient. There's a lot of work still to be done in free agency. It's probably going to take some time. It's probably going to be weeks before we hear anything else happening. And there's always a flurry of activity right before the draft, during the draft, and after the draft. So just Lions fans, I'm having a hard time with it. Just be patient. We have to be patient. We have to trust in Brad. He knows what he's doing. I'd love to see Brad's board and kind of pick Brad's brain to know what he's doing, but we're not going to hear anything until the draft, I believe.
Apparently Attila wants some Nightbot merch to buy. I'm redoing the whole store. I haven't done anything with it. I put it up last year and I just said, forget it. So I'm going to redo everything. I'm going to slim everything down to just a few options. I've got a lot of stuff I got to get handled. I'll have a long day today getting a lot of stuff done, but I got to get it done so that we can continue motoring forward. All right, Eric, you have a good rest of your day, brother. We'll see you.
Yeah. See you.
And then there was one. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. We're going to do a little wrap up, and I'll be right back.
Throwing middle, caught inside the 5. Jamir Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. 14 yards on the strike. Goff to Gibbs. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
Nice job.
Jared takes the snap, back looking, throwing middle, got Amon-Ra, inside the 2, to the 1, to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
Nice job.
Mariota's got it back. Pressure comes. He's hit. Slips out of it. Rolling to his right. Now he's going down. Brian Branch got him. Sack for the Lions. Snap taken by Mario. Pressured by Hutchinson. He goes down again.
All right, so there's a couple of questions that I missed. I'm going to try to get to them. Peace out, Shane Smith. Sounds like you've got to get ready for work there. Hope you have a good rest of your day, man. There's a couple of questions in here. Where did they go? Rather be fishing wanted to know about buses and if the buses would be leaving from the Gun Lake area. So when I do the bus trips, the away trips, obviously the majority of the Lions fans are in that greater Detroit area where I think we're going to have a lot more people that are going to want to join. So the way that I designed it last year, I'll do the same thing this year, is that the majority of the buses will leave out of the greater Detroit area and not inside Detroit, but there'll be a spot that we pick, whether it's a Meijer parking lot or a hotel parking lot or a park and fly, something. So the bus will pick you up there. And so if we're going to Chicago, then what the bus is going to do is it's going to come down to Kalamazoo, and then we're going to pick up in Kalamazoo, and then we're going to go to Chicago. That way, the people from Grand Rapids or, Lansing or where, you have a little bit of a drive, and then you can get to the bus pickup spot. If we're going to, let's say, Indianapolis, I don't think we play Indianapolis this year, but same thing there. Even though it's kind of on the way out of the way, we would still go from Detroit to Indianapolis or to Kalamazoo, then straight down to Indianapolis. If we're going to Baltimore or the Jets or wherever, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't make sense to come this way to go that way. So if we're going West Coast, west side of west of Detroit, yes, there will always be another pickup spot to try to get some of the people on the west side of the state the ability to not have to drive 2.5 hours. If we're going east, obviously we're going east, you're going to have to get to Detroit. If we're going south, we're still going to try to do that pickup spot in Kalamazoo. That way we give, more opportunity to people and you don't have to drive that far. It's pretty hard to leave straight out of GR when a lot of people that watch and listen to this show, the large majority, are from the greater Detroit area. We have a bigger presence in the greater Grand Rapids area. To a lesser degree anywhere else in Michigan, and then another good footprint in the Canadian area, and then worldwide there's a footprint there too. So anyway, there was a question in the chat earlier. I remember it. I don't know who asked it. You can throw your thumb up in the chat if you asked it, but someone had asked about Jamir Gibbs and does Jamir Gibbs make sense to sign this year? Yes and no. But I'm more towards yes. I'll explain why. There was also a post on Twitter, and it says, are we really saving much money by signing Jamir Gibbs to an extension this year? To me, it made perfect sense with a guy like Jameson Williams. Hadn't even played a full season yet. The price tag would have gone up significantly, as we've now seen with the wide receiver market this offseason. With Gibbs, he's already a pretty consensus superstar, a top 2 or 3 player. I think getting into the franchise tag convo is a bit far-fetched and not worth the risk of pissing him off. why not just wait a year and extend after 2026? It's this type of stuff that burns me. Like, I don't know why people ask stuff like this without taking 2 seconds and Googling, or AI, even though AI is fairly trustworthy. But I'm going to do it right now so I can give you an AI answer. This is what would happen. Let me just ask the question. I'm just going to copy and paste that same exact question out of Twitter. And I'm going to go to AI and I'm going to post it. And we're going to see what it says. And then on Twitter, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say, at Grok, explain why this makes sense to extend Gibbs now, including the 5th-year option. See, because that's the trigger point, is the 5th-year option. There's a reason why the 5th-year option is important in this discussion. When you extend a player, I'll wait for AI to give me its answer, and I'll tell you what it says in a minute. But why the 5th-year option is so important is this simple. Just because you're extending Gibbs now doesn't mean his contract starts now. We extended Jared Goff, 2 seasons ago? Was at the end of 2024, I believe. Maybe it was just before. I think it was the end of 24. His contract just hit this year. We extended Amon-Ra St. Brown, well over a season ago. His contract just starts to hit now. We extended Aiden Hutchinson last year. His contract won't even start to really hit until after next year. So the 5th-year option that is available on first-round players is why you do an extension now, for multiple reasons. I understand the sentiment that he's already a superstar. He's a top 3 running back in the league. So the price for Jamir Gibbs is probably going to break the bank and be a resetting running back contract. I get that. But when you pick up the 5th-year option, your extension starts after that. So what the Lions are expected to do, not that they will do this or have done this, is pick up the 5th, which means Jamir Gibbs is playing in his 4th season this year, and then he'll play under the 5th-year option next year. When you combine all that together, it saves the Lions a little bit of money. Let me see. What the 5th-year option is for the 2023 class. I can't remember it off the cuff here. Oh, come on. Where is it? Okay, where are you at, Gibbs? All right, here's Gibbs. You know what? Let me throw this up on the screen. Okay, so right there, Jamir Gibbs is kind of in the middle, right here. His 5th-year option is 14. Oh, you can't see that. There you go. $14.293 million. You should be able to see it better now. Oh, where'd it go? There he is. Is it cut off? It is. It's cut off. Oh, I see why. There you go. $14.293 million. Does anyone have an idea of how much it's going to cost to sign Jamir Gibbs? Well, the market value The market value for Jamir Gibbs right now is $20.2 million. $20.2 million. There you go. There's Jamir Gibbs, $20.2 million. Now, if I remember correctly, Saquon Barkley got a little bit more north of that number, and I'm expecting that Jamir Gibbs is probably going to be $22 million. If they get him signed for less than $22 million, that is a win. But the reason why you pick up the fifth-year option is because you're saving about $7 million. So you pick up the fifth. Jamir Gibbs is going to play under his 2023 salary. This is how they weight it. You know, you've got the top 5 contracts in here. He's going to play under his 2026 salary, which is $5.6 million. Why is it not lining up? My bad, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. My bad. Oh, I really just screwed it all up. I don't know what I did. I don't know why it is on that. It's not changing. Hold on. It's just getting worse. God, I hate OBS some days. Okay, here we go. Slide. Where's the slider? Come on. So this year he has a cap hit of $5.6 million. The fifth-year option, which I think they already picked it up, if I'm not mistaken. They might not have. And they have not. So this is funny. One of the first things that pops up, it says, confirmed, the Detroit Lions have officially rewarded running back Jamir Gibbs for his breakout season with a massive 5-year, $250 million contract extension. How on earth are all of these fake BS articles making it to the top of searches? I'll never understand that. And Google needs to do something about it because that's complete bullshit. Excuse my language. It's bull schnikey. But anyway, he's going to make $5.6 million this year. His fifth-year option would be $14.293. So then if they extend him to a 3-year, $70 million contract, well, that's not going to start till 2028. That's why you do the extension now. You get it done now, because what happens if the running back market goes from 20 to 22 million a year up to 25 to 27 million a year? Every year that you wait, there's at least one thing that's going to happen, and that's about 9 to 11% is going to get added to the salary cap, which means player salaries for your premier players are also going to go up between 9 and 11%, because they're expecting that you're going to end up paying them commensurate to what the salary cap is. So just like a lot of people get a percentage-based bump in their pay every year at their job, whether it's 3% or, whatever, athletes expect the same thing. If the salary cap goes up, if there's more money in the pot, they're expecting that, if they're making 20 mil right now, that they're going to get 22 mil when, the next year if they have to sign a new contract. But if you wait 2 years, or if you wait till next year and the salary cap goes up another 10%, well, now that 22 is what? 24. So yeah, you're saving $8 million, $6 million at least, just from a cap increase perspective. Paying him $14.3 million next year on a fifth-year option is about a $7 million savings. Let's go back and look at what AI said. What did AI say? Okay. It says extending Jamir Gibbs now as he enters year 4 isn't about outrunning a massive, uncontrollable positional market reset like the front office had to do with Jameson Williams. Instead, an early Gibbs extension is a highly calculated manipulation of the salary cap, a race against the Atlanta Falcons, right? And so you have to worry about his contract over there and strict adherence to what Brad Holmes does with roster building and his philosophy. So beating the Bijan Robinson domino, like what if Bijan Robinson gets a $25 million a year contract? Now you have to beat that because you're not going to tell me the Jamir Gibbs agent is going to say, you know what? Yeah, we'll take less. We don't feel we're as good as Bijan Robinson. And I don't know where on this green earth of ours anyone thinks that Bijan Robinson is a better running back than Jamir Gibbs. If anything, they're fairly equal. But Jamir Gibbs outpaces Bijan. I mean, hands down. He outpaces Bijan easily. So if Atlanta and Detroit are staring at the exact same timeline, then Bijan Robinson and Gibbs are they are the undisputed top tier running backs out of that 2023 draft class. Both are going to be officially available for new money after year 3 as they were first round picks. Whichever front office strikes first is the one that has the leverage. So if you get Gibbs done now, again, the money doesn't hit until 2028. But you saved yourself not having to contend with Bijan Robinson's money and the salary cap increases every year. So if the Atlanta Falcons hand Bijan Robinson that market-shattering contract extension, then Jamir Gibbs' agent, it's funny, it's saying the exact same thing I just said, immediately uses the contract as the absolute floor for negotiations. By moving first, Holmes controls the financial narrative and dictates the average annual value. He executed this exact same strategy by securing Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown before their respective positional markets fully detonated the way that they did, right? I think I'd turn this into a video today. I think it would help a lot of Lions fans to understand exactly why Brad Holmes would do something like this. But I got one question for you. Why weren't you saying this about Aiden Hutchinson? Why weren't you asking this about Aiden Hutchinson? To me, the Lions didn't save any money by doing Aiden's deal. They gave him the most guarantee out of anybody. I don't care about the base salary. I care about the guarantee. Now, the difference is, and I think what a lot of people don't understand is, and when I say a lot of people don't understand, it's like they haven't taken the time to do the research. Everyone understands it. It's just you haven't looked at it. Aiden Hutchinson's deal is, and I think that's a lot of reasons why people come here, is to kind of get the truth, right? To get, so it's not as clear as mud everywhere else. We get through it and we try to make sense of it. When you look at Aiden's deal, it's very unique. I hate to say it's like a slap in the face kind of a contract. It's kind of a slap in the face kind of contract. I think over the cap is probably better with this one. So you got a bunch of money, but how they laid it out is very odd. Aiden has zero guaranteed money in 2028, 2029, 2030. And then 5 void years after that. The Lions absolutely fleeced Aiden Hutchinson to a degree. Not a bad fleece, but they can walk away from Aiden in 2028. if they needed to. His cap hit is insane. So when a lot of people thought that Aiden got this amazing deal, he did, but he didn't. And this is where I think the rubber hits the road in contract negotiations and why the Lions did it so early with Aiden. It wasn't saying, hey, you're one of the best players in the league. We're going to give you this massive contract. No, I feel like it was a different story altogether. They took advantage of that injury. I mean, look at his cap number. Let me see if I can make this big enough where you guys can see it, and then I'll slide over. What's it doing here? There we go. Let me slide over a little bit more. Okay. So right here, this cap number, let me see where the years are. We're in 2026, so that's going to be the second line down. His cap number this year is 10.2, we'll call it, right? 10.2. His roster bonus, he doesn't have any. His prorated bonus from his signing bonus is $5.6 million. He doesn't have any per game bonuses or anything included. But after that, look at that. He's got a $200,000 per game bonus in 2027 and 28 and 29. So you're talking 17 plus games. What is that? Like 3.4 million? The cap gymnastics that the Lions have done are incredible. Yeah, it's 3.4 million. I should have just stuck with my math brain. So 3.4 million has to get made by him playing in every game. If he continues to play 95% of the snaps, he's not going to be playing in every game in 27, 28, 29. He's just not. There's just no way. He's going to get worn down. He's got a signing bonus proration of $3 million over the next four seasons. He has his option bonus proration in each of the next 8 years. Look at that. 5.6, 11.3, 16.9, 20.9. That's 4. 24.9, then 19.3, then 13.6, and then 8 million. There's more. There's 4 million and then 0. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons of prorated option bonuses. He has no roster bonuses until he reaches 2030, which is 2.5 million. And then he has another 3.4 million in game performance bonuses where he has to play in the game. But look at his cap number. Let me slide it a little bit. Look at his cap number here. Only 10.146 this year. That's exactly why you got that number done early. 16.049 next year. 21.7 or 21.8 in 2028. But no guaranteed money. None. Here's the guaranteed money. In 2028, the Lions can walk away and not give him a penny. So they set this contract up to where the Lions would only invest a minimal amount of money by being able to release him or trade him in 2028. And I think that was done for multiple reasons. One, you've got Brad and Dan's contracts that are converging around 2028. I believe that, and that's when Jared Goff's, I believe, is also coming to a close. And I'm willing to bet that Shiloh's like, yeah, so if you're not retained, we don't want to be left with a giant hole of a bad contract. The only thing that would come due here in 2028 is whatever was not paid or it was already paid, but whatever was not allocated to each year for the cap hit. But if you look, I'll go back to it one more time. Look at his cap hits as he starts going through these years. His cap hits in 2029 is 54 million. And in 2030 is 50 million. And in 2031 is 45 million. But if the Lions walk away in 2028, he doesn't get any of that. That's 150 million in cap hits that would go away. The only thing that doesn't go away would be these prorated bonuses. Now, I don't remember what his signing bonus was. Let me pull that up. I don't know if they put it up in here. I bet you they did. He got a full guarantee of $55 million. Contract value is $180, which is an average of $45 per year. The contract at the time was the number 2 overall contract in the league, or it is right now. And where is the guarantee? Oh, there we go. Total guarantees. Half. So about 51%. No, I'm sorry. That's over all of his earnings. That's over all of his earnings. I got to find his signing bonus. The point that I'm trying to make here is the Lions structured this so that when they do walk away, if they do walk away, it'll be a minimum hit. He got a $15 million signing bonus. That was it. That is unheard of. Typically, you look at like Micah Parsons. You do those. You do these contracts to give a bigger signing bonus so that you can spread it out over a longer amount of time. But the Lions didn't do that, and instead they baked all of this in. He got a $44 million. He got 3 times the amount that Aiden did. 44 versus Aiden's 15. Myles Garrett, he got $21.5 million. He's a lot older than Aiden, so that makes a lot of sense. Max Crosby, he had a $62.5 million fully guaranteed at signing with where's his signing bonus? Where's the signing bonus? Only $13 million in a signing bonus. I need to go back to Aiden's. So Aiden's $141 million guarantee out of 180 is a crazy number. It's a crazy number. But what is weird, and I don't think Over the Cap lays this out extraordinarily well, is how the money is guaranteed. I saw it in another platform. Oh, here we go. Here's the contract notes. So he had $55.4 million guaranteed at signing. Okay, so at signing, and that was the signing bonus plus the 2025 compensation plus the 2026 compensation plus only $10 million of his 2027 salary. So that means between signing the deal and through the new league year of 2027, so next year at this time, Aiden would be guaranteed a payment of $55.4 million. If the Lions walked away yesterday, right, before the new league year started, Aiden would get $45.4 million and they would owe him nothing else. He didn't get $141 million guaranteed at signing. He just got $141 million guaranteed, which means an additional $19.8 million of the 2027 salary is fully guaranteed on the third league day of 2026. When is that? Okay, so yesterday was the first new day of the league year, which means tomorrow, probably at 4 p.m., Aiden's going to get another $19.8 million in guarantees. And that is for injury guarantee at signing. So he only gets that money if he gets injured again. Moving forward, in 2028, he gets $29.8 million of the 2028 salary fully guaranteed on the third league day of the 2027 year league day, only for injury. So what they really gave Aiden was a fugazi, which is odd, but they took advantage of the fact, rightfully so, that he was coming off of a major injury. And Aiden had to put the work in to make it back to the field and play to a level that the Lions are going to be happy with. I think they're pretty damn happy with how he played last year. But the point I'm trying to make is, don't think that Aiden is here through 2031. The Lions have zero liability. I mean, well, not zero. A very low liability baked into this contract. If the way I understand it, and if the way that Spotrac has outlined it, this is telling me that if the Lions wanted to walk away tomorrow, trade him tomorrow, that they could, and they wouldn't owe him a bunch of money. And I just find that really, really interesting. And I don't know why I got to sign in on this again. This is ridiculous. So I'm just going to play with this just for a second. I'm going to go in and manage his contract. So in 2027, let's say that they trade him before June 1st. Wow. This can't be right. Maybe it is. Look at this. Oops. Now, I'm only talking about this because we're talking about contracts, right? We're talking about why the contracts matter, of getting them done now, and why you take advantage of certain situations. I'm in the wrong one. There we go. So look at this. If the Lions were to trade him before June 1st of next year, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen. We're just having a conversation about contracts. Someone brought it up about Jamir Gibbs. This is why you do these things. The Lions would save $7.049 million after a pre-June 1st trade in 2027. They would only have a cap hit of $9 million in 2027. And that's it. That's it. They owe no more money. No more dead cap. No nothing. And so the reason why you do things like this, and the reason why you get players signed early, is one, you got to take advantage of the market, right? Two, you want to make sure that your players on your damn roster is taken care of. Aiden deserved to be taken care of, and he was going through a major injury, so it just made sense to get it all done. And that is a very, very, very favorable deal to the Lions. Not so much for Aiden. But Aiden has to, I don't think we have any fears about Aiden putting the work in. But that is nuts. You can walk away from Aiden for $9 million after this season, which means that is an extremely valuable trade option to anyone. If the Lions wanted 2 first-round picks for Aiden, they would get it in a heartbeat. And it would cost them $9 million next year. So who's to say he's not on the trading block now? I don't think he is. Right? I don't think he is. But the potential is there at some point. And the way the Lions put this together was extremely intelligent. I obviously hope that Aiden continues to grow, and I don't think he's ever going to get better in the run game. I think that ship has sailed. But that's why we need to back him up with someone better in the run game, not as a pass rusher, someone that is better in the run game. They can come in on first or second down, give Aiden a blow, right? Give him a little bit of time on the sideline for, one play times 10 a game. That's 10 plays a game that he's not in the game, at least. And then you bring someone in that can shut down the run game, give him some time to relax and be better in the fourth quarter. If they do stuff like that, I'm all for it. That's why AJ Epinesa is my guy. He has high pass rush upside, but he's also stellar in the run game. I don't care what PFF says. I know what my tape says. And AJ Epinesa is a perfect complement. So back to Jamir Gibbs. Why do you do it? You do it because he's only going to get paid $15 million next year if you do it. And he's only going to make $66 million this year. And then his contract hits in 2028 or starts to hit. And even then, based on what his signing bonus is, Jamir Gibbs is going to get plenty of money. You'll be satisfied. That's why you do it. And that's why it's important. That's why it's important to utilize your resources. I mean, obviously come here to get the information, ask the questions. I love going through this stuff. I mean, this is what I do. I love stats and analytics. I'm slowly learning a lot more about contracts. They're very fickle, if you will. They're not all the same. They're all different. I mean, I never realized that he had all these void years in here on top of all of these prorations. Now, last year I did note that there was a lot of weird things in his contract that did not make sense, and I wish the dude from Spotrac would just get on the phone with me. He has not yet. And explain some of this stuff. Now, I'm going to throw another wrinkle in this. If the Lions next year were to move off of Aiden after June 1st, and trade him after June 1st, well, not only do they save more money, they save 13.49 or 13.1 million, we'll call it, but their cap hit in 27 is only 3 million and their cap hit in 28 is only 6 million. So what would happen this year? Let's just, for grins, what would happen this year? Well, let's say that the Lions in 2026 decided that they wanted to trade Aiden. Let's just say we released him. How crazy would that be? That's where things get messed up. If the Lions released him right now, they would take an $80 million cap hit. They would lose over $70 million. If they were to release him after June 1st, they would still take that same $80 million cap hit. They would lose $38 million, so it gets a little bit better. If they were to trade him right now before June 1st, they take on a $40 million cap hit. They lose $30 million. If they were to trade him post June 1st, they would only take on an $8.7 million cap hit this year and a $31.8 million cap hit next year, which is a ton of money. And they would save $1.5 million. So next year in 2027, that is the year that you could potentially see something happening with Aiden Hutchinson. And every year after that, it's the same. If I were to go to 2028, obviously Aiden is going to have more guaranteed money by 2028 because there's escalators built into his contract. So in 2028, let's say I trade him pre-June 1st. The Lions would only take on a $6 million cap hit. They would save $15.8 million. However, they would end up paying him a $16.1 million cap hit in 2027, a $10.2 million cap hit in 2026. Let's go out to the next year. Let's go out to 2029. Let's say we're going to trade him pre-June 1st by then. Okay, well, this is what happens. The Lions would only have a $3 million cap hit. They save $51 million by doing that. But they would have paid him 10.1 this year, 16.1 next year, and 21.8 the year after. So very, very interesting. I think it's an extremely friendly deal. But obviously, the more years you go out, the more years you end up paying for that high price tag. So I want to take a look at Saquon Barkley next. I'm curious to how his contract got laid out. Okay, here we go. I really don't like Spotrac for this. Like, it's not as good some days as Over the Cap. So if we were to do an identical deal to like Saquon Barkley, see, they already have a potential out in 2027, the way that this deal was put together. His cap hit in 2026 is 9.8, and then it goes up to 13.1, then 17.5, and then all the void years kick in 2029. That's not terrible, right? That was a really good deal that he got. He got 2 years at $41.2 million. So what is that? 20.6 per year, $36 million guaranteed at signing. The fact that it was only a 2-year deal, I mean, that makes things a little bit more expensive for the Eagles. But for Jamir Gibbs, let's just go ahead and extend him. And see what happens. We're going to sign him to an extension. We're going to go 3 years. We're going to go $75 million. That's 25 per. Actually, let's do a little bit less than that. Let's just call it 70. Signing bonus, yes. Saquon got damn near 70%. I'm just going to take a stab at it. We'll do 20 million. Just based on what I've seen the Lions do so far with some of these big contracts, they haven't done extremely big signing bonuses. Any roster bonuses? Nah, we'll skip that. Game bonuses, we'll skip that. Option bonuses, we'll skip that. Workout bonuses, don't care. His base salary in 26, we'll just call it 6.5. His base salary in 27, we'll call that 14.5. It's close enough. And then come on. Void years, let's do 3. Actually, they'll probably max it out. Let's just do 5. Let's say his base salary, we'll just call it 10 million. And then we'll go 25 million. And then 25, 35, 50, 60. So 35 million. Okay, here's the new contract. So if we were to give him a 3-year, $70 million contract, this is how it would lay out. We'll keep his 6.5, which is roughly what he's going to make. Next year, that would be the 5th year option. And then his first year under contract will do $10 million. And then it's guaranteed in March of 2027. Okay, so let's do that. So he's got $41 million guaranteed at signing, 2026 salary plus 2027 salary plus his signing bonus. And then he has $10 million fully guaranteed in March of 27. He's got $25 million fully guaranteed in 20. Actually, no, hold on. It's not letting me. Yeah, we'll do injury guarantee only. But it doesn't let me divvy up the number because I didn't add any other bonuses in there. So that's what it could look like. And that's affordable, but again, that's why you do it now. He's not going to get a 5-year deal. He's not going to get a 4-year deal. He's going to get a 3-year deal. And so mostly everybody signs, especially running backs, because you don't extend running backs extremely far. I mean, they could give him a 1-year signing, a 1-year deal this year on top of the 5th year option. But that's affordable, especially when you look at Aiden's contract. Like, okay, in 2028, if you walk away from Aiden, then yeah, he's perfectly fine at that kind of money. But that's why you do it. That's why you do it early. Anyway, all right, what's next? I've got a few minutes left here. What am I missing here? Okay, so JC, I like your statement. I don't know what I missed the whole conversation that you guys were having, but you said, so I like Brad, so don't think I'm one of those. That's funny. But he says, I think he's too sneaky, in my opinion, sometimes. You will not survive as a franchise living off of 60% of your roster contracted for 1 year. And I understand that. I do. Unfortunately, the entire league does that. And the reason why is because you can only have so many guys, one on long-term contracts. Obviously, we would love to know that when we go from year to year to year, that we have more and more guys that are signed. If I remember correctly, back in 2024, that might have been the most players we had signed before free agency. And that's the way to do it. Like, if you can have 40 guys on your roster to start the season before free agency, like, that's phenomenal. For grins, I'll take a few minutes over my time today. I wasn't going to do a long marathon. This is already turning into one. Let's just go to a team, and let's just pick any team. Pick a team. You pick. I don't want to be biased. You pick the team. I'll throw it up on the screen. We'll talk about it. Oh, we got some breaking news. Hold on. Let me get it back up on the screen. I just moved it. Where the hell did it go? There we go. There it is. Love this move. This is a great move by the Lions. Great move by the Lions. Phenomenal work. I'm glad we stayed on. Awesome work. All right, so we got breaking news coming from Mike Garafolo just 2 minutes ago. The Lions have now agreed to terms with slot corner and safety corner, slot safety corner Christian Izien on a 1-year deal. Speaking of your 1-year deals, JC. So according to his agent, telling the insiders that this just went down. There you go. There's the deal. Lions got their slot. It's a good move. It's a great move. Let's take a look at Christian Izien and what this means. What kind of player are we getting? I love how they pull from Tampa sometimes, man. There's some good players down there. This dude's a beast. Didn't have the greatest years last year. Let's take a look here. Snaps by position. He didn't play often. I'll tell you that. He did not have a good year. And I don't know if it was all injury related or what. But back in 2023, when he came into the league, this dude was a complete animal. He had, in 2023, 2 interceptions, passer rating of 101.5, 9 missed tackles. It's a little high. 19 stops in the run game, 2 forced fumbles. So he gets his hands on the football. 9 total pressures. He allowed 49 receptions, though. So he's a little bit of a liability back as a rookie. But his grades were solid. He was a 66.8, 80.3 against the run. So there's a common denominator with the Lions. They want guys that are great against the run. So 2025, the 61.2, he didn't grade out because he didn't have enough snaps. So that's why you see 0 out of 98, 0 out of 98, et cetera, et cetera. He just didn't play. Now, I don't know what his injury concerns were just yet, but I'll find it for you right now. If I could get some things to open up, that would be helpful. So in 2024, he had a pectoral injury, and he was placed on IR in December. He obviously healed up from that, came back in 2025. And it was late August, that Christian Izien was already injured. I believe that was coming out of camp. So during the preseason slate, the starters are typically on a pitch count, but the Bucs' depth was depleted as both receiver and in the secondary due to a bunch of injuries that happened last season. So prior to that preseason game against the Bucs, they really didn't have anybody to play. Christian Izien was that positionless wonder. I mean, he's a guy that's very versatile. He had an oblique injury last year, and during the team's first 2 preseason games against the Steelers, he suffered that injury in the first 2 preseason games, and then against the Steelers is when that injury was confirmed by Todd Bowles that it could linger a little bit into the regular season, and he was week to week. I just don't think he healed up. I don't think he healed up throughout the season. So he had a down year. So don't judge a player by PFF. Just don't do it, because it's going to look terrible last year. You have to start looking back at who he was when he came into the league and he was healthy. Now, as a rookie, he graded out as the 12th best slot guy against the run. 66.5 in coverage. He was the 60th best. That's pretty damn good when you're talking about 96 guys being graded. Yeah, he was in the top third, but he was kind of in the middle of everybody. And then overall, he was, again, kind of in the middle of everybody. That's still a great pickup. He's someone that's going to come in and battle, and I'm glad that they did this because that means they're giving Ennis Rakestraw his pink slip if he doesn't work out this year. That's exactly what it means, in my opinion. Rakestraw probably doesn't think so. So drafted in 2023, he was a free agent, so he must have went UDFA. Coming out of Rutgers. That's our second Rutgers guy now that we have. Isaiah Pacheco is also a Rutgers guy. So good pickup for the Lions. Good stuff. I like it. So my guy Bared Fruit, man, they were looking at DBs, 4 or 5 days ago. Whenever I posted that on Twitter, we finally got one DB. Just waiting on the outside linebacker now. I'm not sure what the holdup is, but I would expect that we might get 2 or 3 more signings today. If it's not, guys that are coming back, from free agency this last season for the Lions, it could have a couple of guys that come in as OFAs from other teams. I think that's it. I think that's it for the day. There's really not much else going on. I'll be back later with some breaking news once the Lions make some more moves. But that's a good one. Welcome to the Pride, my man. Well, hopefully he stays healthy this year. And I don't see anything else flying. Nothing. Damn, Solomon Thomas was still available yesterday. That would have been a decent signing too. All right, that's it. You guys have been great. No, it does not mean Maddox. But there is something to think about here. Maddox hasn't been signed by anybody. And, sometimes you get these knee-jerk reaction signings by the Lions. At least that's what I call it. When a big name comes off the board, the Lions respond by getting somebody inked, which typically means that they were probably in on some of that action. More often than not, they probably weren't. But some players make sense there. So, for instance, if AJ Epinesa flies off the board today, goes to a different team, and then you right behind that, you see the Lions inked AQM. That would probably be your answer. That, they were in on AJ Epinesa, but then it didn't get done, so they got AQM done. That kind of happened last year with, or maybe it was the previous year, Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis. So they reached out to Amik Robertson, didn't go through right away. He wanted another day to think about it. They signed Carlton Davis, and then the next day, Amik Robertson's like, all right, let's do it. And so that's stuff to just kind of pay attention to, park in the back of your head there to kind of figure out what Brad Holmes is all about. It's a mystery. I know. It's a puzzle, but things are going to start happening. You'll start seeing a few names flying off the board. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll be back, and you guys just keep staying cool, man. Appreciate all the support this morning. As always, like, share, and subscribe on their way out. Hype it when we're all done. Get it out there, especially the videos, man. I need all the hyping that you can give to help us get out there. I haven't been doing a lot of videos, but they're going to start turning here as I start talking about draft and why the draft means so much to the Lions now, and the players that could potentially be, on their board this season. All that's going to start flying soon. I paused the release of the top 25 until we could get through a few days of free agency, and that'll kick back up again here probably tonight. So should be back at least for a nightcap show tonight. It's Thursday. We'll do primary U, which means phone lines are wide open. Call in, talk about it. I don't care what you got to say, just say it. So we'll see you guys later. Go and play Detroit Lions, and congratulations to Christian Izien. Welcome to Detroit. Adios.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down.